Hey friends, hope you're all doing well. We're doing okay too, just really tired since we've been working non-stop. We wanted to answer a question many of you ask: how does our publishing process work? Most of our audiobooks are first posted on Patreon as paid content. They stay behind a paywall for a few months. After that, they become free to access on Patreon forever. Then, a few weeks later, we upload them to other platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, X. Lately, our community hasn't been growing much, and we could really use your help. Please share our site in your Facebook groups, Discord servers, Reddit threads, Twitter, X, or with any friends who might be interested. Every little bit helps and we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for being with us and supporting what we do, unlike the clans who did. Hyuga, however, didn't care about these growing tensions. His support for the Uchiha clan had an ulterior motive. He wanted to win over Uchiha Kage. If Uchiha Kage truly showed loyalty to the village, it would be clear that family ties were still present. A person, even if they were disillusioned, wouldn't easily abandon what was familiar. The other clans suspected that Hyuga was attempting to bribe the Uchiha. But Hyuga's true aim wasn't in gaining trust from the entire Uchiha clan, only Uchiha Kage. The Nara clan, on the other hand, found themselves in a difficult position. When the Nara clan sent Shikaiya to work under Hyuga, the other clans noticed. After all, why had Hyuga chosen to support the Nara clan financially? Why not another clan? It didn't take long for them to learn that Shikaiya was handling minor tasks. This prompted laughter among the other clans, who were relieved they hadn't been the first to ally with Hyuga. The Nara clan had tried to hedge their bets, hoping to retain influence no matter which faction came out on top. If the Sarutobi or Shimura clans gained power, they could disassociate from Shikaiya. But with Hyuga's 10 million tael investment, they were caught in an uncomfortable position. The sum was significant enough to consider, but not enough to secure complete loyalty or disdain. Hyuga had even suggested the monthly salary arrangement. The Nara clan didn't particularly need the money, but rejecting it would be foolish. A smart clan knows how to do the math, and the Nara clan realized accepting Hyuga's funds would maximize their future benefits. "You can't do this." Nara Shikaiya protested, looking desperate. "I'm working under you. Can't you be a bit more understanding?" His face looked pitiful. Hyuga laughed. "My man? Have you done anything useful for me? You've been eating and drinking without lifting a finger. You live more comfortably than me." Realizing the situation, Nara Shikaiya sighed. Fine. You should have told me earlier. I'll help." He grabbed half the documents on Hyuga's desk and started doing calculations with pen and paper. Hyuga quickly snatched the documents back. "Hey! Don't mess around. These numbers are critical. If you make a mistake, we're doomed." Nara Shikaiya confidently patted his chest. "I promise I won't make a mistake." Hyuga rolled his eyes. Fine, stop with the theatrics. I'm too tired to argue. Just give me a piece of your clan's land for a school." In Hyuga's previous life, this request would have been exciting. Schools brought development, rising land values, and bustling commerce. But in this world, people didn't think that way. "Please, no." Nara Shikaiya cried, hugging Hyuga's legs. "Our land is tiny compared to the Uchiha, Sarutobi, and even the Shimura. We're already at a disadvantage." Hyuga sighed, exasperated. "Shikaiya, I know your clan only sent you here as a formality. But I've noticed you're not an idiot. So, I'm offering you a real chance. Give me a quarter of your clan's land. I'll build a school for 3 years, and if it doesn't make 100 million taels annually, I'll pay you that amount every year as a subsidy. What do you say?" Shikaiya stared at Hyuga, stunned. "Agent. Are you serious?" Hyuga smirked. "Of course, I'm joking. Go home and rest." Relieved, Shikaiya quickly gathered his things and left. Hyuga sighed, leaning back in the Hokage's office, his thoughts racing. Chapter 56 Uchiha, is that true? A voice echoed through the empty room. Hyuga was stunned for a moment, then realized who it was. Hyuga wasn't used to it and complained immediately, "Brother Jing, can you come out first and then talk? It's so creepy to just speak out of nowhere like that." Kagami Uchiha's figure materialized in the Hokage's office. He was wearing a ninja combat uniform and an Anbu mask on his face. Standing upright with his hands at his sides, his posture showed a respectful attitude, distinct from Nara Shikaiya's more relaxed demeanor. Hyuga shook his head and laughed. "Why so serious? Brother Jing, you saved my life, you know." That much was true. If it hadn't been for Sarutobi Hiruzen and Kagami Uchiha stalling the second Raikage for over 10 seconds, Hyuga would likely have died long ago. "It's a matter of hierarchy," Kagami Uchiha replied calmly. Hyuga sighed, setting down the marker he had been holding, no longer in the mood to write. Yes, it's true. Yuya finally said, looking up at Kagami. If he agrees, then I'll keep my word. Kagami raised his head and asked, then, can this school be built within the Uchiha clan's territory? I'll speak to the family. Yuya immediately chuckled. That's not going to work, he said, shaking his head. Precisely because you're an Uchiha, we can't have the school built there. Members of the Uchiha clan tended to have strong, often intense personalities, partly due to the influence of the Sharingan. If a place like a school was built in their territory, it might end up having a negative impact on the students. Yuya cared deeply about the students, who were Hidden Leaf Village's most valuable assets. While there were many influential families in the village, Yuya had a preference for the Nara clan's atmosphere. Even if it made the school environment more laid back, he was sure that assigning extra homework could motivate the students. Kagami Uchiha stood silent, unmoving. Yuya sighed again and considered his words carefully. There is an institution that might work in the Uchiha district. If you're serious, maybe try persuading your family? Kagami asked quickly, can it generate 100 million ryo in 3 years? Yuya paused and then chuckled. Ah, yes, it can. Easily. In fact, it was a certainty. Once operational, the institution could generate even more revenue. He handed an old piece of papyrus to Kagami. The Uchiha could tell it was a planning document from 2 years ago, when Senju Dobirama was still around. The foresight seemed almost prophetic. Kagami took the document and, after reading just a line, froze in shock. Because of the mask, Yuya couldn't see his expression, but he imagined it was quite a reaction. You can keep it, Yuya said. Whether it succeeds or not, I'm not in a hurry. Kagami nodded in silence and departed. Yuya doubted the Uchiha clan would agree to his proposal anyway. His plan involved something very simple, yet essential, a hospital. And yes, it would include the morgue. Yuya also had plans for a crematorium. Both were profitable and necessary, but the ninja families were bound to resist. The Uchiha, obsessed with reputation, would never accept a facility like that on their land. Medical infrastructure in Hidden Leaf Village was still underdeveloped. Even basic medical teams were rare, and a formal system wouldn't take shape until Tsunade pioneered the field years later. Still, if the Uchiha did agree, it would be both a blessing and a challenge for Yuya. He would have to work non-stop, devising training manuals and coordinating construction. But, unsurprisingly, the Uchiha clan declined, and their leader was furious. Yuya suspected that mentioning the morgue and crematorium had offended them. The next day, Nara Shikei arrived for work as if nothing had happened, despite rejecting Yuya's proposal. Yuya considered scaring him for fun, but he was interrupted by a knock at the office door. It was his secretary, bringing the first shipment list from Hidden Stones Village. Delighted, Yuya forgot all about Shikei, rushing to inspect the list of potatoes, soybeans, wheat, and wild greens. Pleased, he signed off and instructed his secretary to arrange a special dinner featuring Hidden Stones Village's vegetables. His secretary, preferring meat, was less enthusiastic. At lunchtime, Yuya unexpectedly ran into Uchiha. Hey, long time no see. Yuya greeted, surprised to see him. Her smile was warm but brief, fading into a more reserved expression. Curious, Yuya invited him to lunch. As they ate, Yuya reminisced about their school days, like the time he tricked Hinata Kazuko into sharing her bando. Her smiled softly, recalling the memories. But when Yuya asked who her was visiting, his smile disappeared. Yuya. Her said, his voice pleading. Please. Stop targeting our Uchiha clan. We mean no harm to Hidden Leaf Village. We just want to live peacefully. Can you stop opposing us? Yuya's expression turned cold. Chapter 57 Bright and Great Land. Did someone ask you to come? Yuya asked Uchiha while forking the steak in the bowl. Uchiha shook her head. No, I came here on my own. I know you are here. Here. Working. Speaking of which, the definition of work was proposed by Yuya. In the past, everyone referred to it as a job. Yuya's head hurt when he heard about employment. Hidden Leaf Village didn't have many facilities before, and there were few positions available in the village. Most of them were management positions. Were these so-called employment positions all management roles, and were they all ninjas? What kind of job was there for ordinary people to do manual labor like a cow and a horse? Yuya looked at Uchiha. Her tone was sincere, and the expression on her face was not strange. He breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, it wasn't what he thought. Otherwise, if he forced a girl to face him as he initially feared, Yuya would truly feel that everyone in the Uchiha clan should commit seppuku. But if he thought more carefully, the Uchiha clan was known for being arrogant and brainless. If they were so arrogant, how could they force a 13-year-old girl to do something against her will? Of course, Yuya knew well that Uchiha must have been influenced by the Uchiha clan to come here. The Uchiha family was like that. It was obviously a ninja clan, but it felt like there were too many people in this family. This was the case for almost everyone, at least a little bit serious. In the future, there would be a top performer who took his 4-year-old son to the battlefield, the daily whipping corps, Fugaku. In short, after coming to this understanding, Yuya felt a lot more at ease, though there was still some discomfort in his heart. Why do you say that? Yuya suppressed his feelings and looked at Uchiha, asking softly. Uchiha looked at Yuya with red eyes and said, everyone in the clan is saying that you, like Lord Hokage, are targeting our Uchiha clan. Yuya was silent, looking at the little girl in front of him, and sighed softly in his heart. After all, she was just a child. What could he say? Yuya considered his words for a moment, then looked up at Uchiha. Zero, how long has it been since you saw the ordinary elders in the clan? Uchiha looked a little confused. I see you every day. I see you when I go to pick up tasks and do tasks. Uchiha was already a Genin, doing tasks like finding cats and dogs, weeding, and fertilizing every day. Yuya was speechless. Then let me put it another way. What about talking to the Uchiha people who have moved out to live? By the way, ask them what they think of their current life and whether they are willing to move back to the clan. Then, when you do tasks in the future, if you go to the north of the village, you can also ask the farmers there how the water wheel that the Uchiha clan repaired for them is working. You can check on the water plant where the Uchiha clan is located near the Minamigano River. You should go and have a look. After you talk to the people I mentioned, if you still have the idea that I am targeting your Uchiha clan, you can come to me at any time. After Yuya finished speaking, he bid farewell to Uchiha. The little girl was still very kind-hearted. It's just that she didn't have enough experience to see things clearly. The one who really made Yuya angry was definitely the Uchiha family. Uchiha watched Yuya's back with some doubts. After thinking about it, she decided to follow Yuya's instructions and ask first. On her way back to the clan, she met an aunt who was looking after a shop on the street outside the clan and asked how her life was and whether she would like to return to live in the Uchiha clan. The aunt looked at the forehead protector on Uchiha's forehead with some fear. Although she was only a Genin, for ordinary people, she was already strong enough to decide their life or death. The aunt expressed her unwillingness to go back, clearly afraid. Uchiha was a little confused. After thinking about it, she didn't ask the reason directly. Instead, she left and used the transformation technique to become Yuya. She came to the stall and bought a box of mung bean cake, then asked if it was true that Uchiha people who moved out wanted to go back. The ordinary people were a little confused about who this boy was, so Uchiha, disguised as Yuya, revealed his identity. I am the divine gold Yuya who appeared in the newspaper some time ago. The aunt suddenly became more enthusiastic and relieved, starting to chat with Yuya. The aunt shared that her leg had been broken more than 10 years ago. At that time, she was a teenager and a ninja. During a daily conflict, she was affected by the detonating talisman of the Senju clan and became disabled. Fortunately, it was only an injury, or she would have died immediately. From then on, she retired from being a ninja and became like an ordinary Uchiha woman, weaving and making clothes to exchange for food. She didn't think anything was wrong. It had been like this since she was born, so she was still alive, right? Until 2 years ago, people in the clan began moving out one after another. She originally didn't want to move out. After all, she felt that the clan was the safest. But her husband, an ordinary member of the Uchiha clan and a former farmer, strongly demanded to move out, and she could only comply. After all, the food in the family was grown by her husband and handed over to the clan. After moving out, they discovered that, although they still had to hand over part of the food to Hidden Leaf Village, the proportion was similar to that given to the clan, but they had more job opportunities. Her husband had sold the land to Lemu and returned to Yiguan to farm, while she herself worked in a factory as a technical worker. She was now easily earning more than 10,000 taels a month. After all, it was a technical job and quite valuable. She had also set up a small stand in the specially vacated space in front of her house to sell the mung bean cakes she made. They tasted very good, and a box cost 20 taels. She could sell several boxes a day, earning thousands of taels a month. Fish in Hidden Mist Village sold for 50 taels per pound. She couldn't stand the smell of fish, so she usually ate canned pork sold by Hidden Leaf Village officials for 200 taels per pound. Occasionally, when she got a craving, she would buy a box of canned beef weighing 5 pounds. Anyway, it was only 500 taels, so it wasn't expensive. As for the canned lizard meat from Sand Hidden Village, well, let's skip that. Moreover, it was much more convenient after moving out. In the past, food was distributed among clan members. Occasionally, She didn't have enough to eat. After moving out, as long as she had money, she could buy as much food as she wanted. When she got tired of eating rice, she could buy some steamed buns to try. The point is that they did have money. Therefore, living outside was much more comfortable than in the clan. The people outside were not as lifeless as those in the Uchiha clan. Everyone was very friendly and spoke nicely. The aunt enjoyed her new life very much. Of course, she didn't know that her good life was due to Yuya. She just felt that the people in the Hidden Leaf Village Hokage's office were quite powerful and could make such a big change in Hidden Leaf Village. Yuya listened very carefully. The aunt didn't realize it, but she understood. Hidden Leaf Village was currently on the front line because of Senju Tobirama, and although Yuya was only a secretary in name, many decisions were made by him. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people in the Uchiha clan scolding him. Although they were mentally ill, how could they scold a teenage child every day if they didn't truly mean it? But to put it bluntly, the grateful look on the aunt's face meant she was thanking Yuya. After confirming that the aunt didn't want to return to the clan, not because someone had bullied her there, but simply because she did not wish to go back, Uchiha felt a bit confused. She couldn't figure out what Yuya had done. The clansmen in the tribe were scolding him, but people outside the tribe thought he was very powerful and good. His performance on the battlefield not long ago had given people in the villages outside the tribe a good impression of him. Uchiha felt that she couldn't just listen to what her family was saying, she wanted to see more. Therefore, unknowingly, Yuya gained the label of understanding the sentiments of the people of Hidden Leaf Village. In the future, after Uchiha stopped messing with Yuya's face, future generations would look back at this period of history and firmly believe that Yuya-sama, the third Hokage, must have transformed into someone else and paid a private visit incognito. Otherwise, how could they explain why every time Hidden Leaf Village faced any problems, they were solved as if someone already knew about them? It must have been that he discovered these problems long ago and conducted on-site investigations. As expected of the respected and admired third Hokage. Bright. Great. Sneeze. Yuya sneezed violently and touched his nose. He muttered, "Who is scolding me behind my back?" Then he looked at a case in front of him, where a house had been expanded without permission, leading to complaints from neighbors. The investigation found that the neighbor's house also occupied the adjacent road for private use. One was an illegal expansion, and the other was occupying the road for private use. How to put it, ordinary people are like this no matter which world they are in. They are simple but cunning. They are willing to donate everything at home to support the front line for the sake of their family and country, yet they will also test the edges of the law for petty profits. Aha. Yuya yawned and made a note. Use these 2 points as garbage dumping areas for Hidden Leaf Village, but be careful to place them outside the alley, not inside. 1 day passed, and nothing changed. 2 days passed, and someone started throwing away trash. 3 days passed, and the garbage piled up. A week later, the first family occupying the road couldn't bear it any longer. They took back the debris they had occupied and paid a sufficient fine as an apology, hoping to withdraw this garbage dumping point. The next day, those who had built their houses privately also came to pay their fines. Now, I've all seen it, they did it voluntarily. I didn't force them. Come on, you guys, do you think you can stump me with your moral skills? I've seen this kind of thing too many times. A week later, Uchiha did not continue to come to Yuya but sent a box of cakes instead. Narashikaya walked in with a box of mung-bean cakes and handed it to Yuya, saying it was a gift from a girl from the Uchiha family. Yuya opened it and took a bite, and his eyes suddenly lit up. It was quite delicious. Chapter 58 Low level means at the end of Hidden Leaf Village's 19th year, the annual review began. This was an important occasion to assess everything done during the year and tally up earnings. Year-end audits were always the busiest time. For a whole week, Yuya hadn't even come around to the 3 little ones for his usual bribes. Tsunade was furious about it. She thought they'd be seeing him every day, turns out he was a big liar. Orochimaru and Jiraiya didn't know what to say. Yuya had already instructed the barbecue restaurant manager that the 3 of them could drop in any time, flash their faces, and eat whatever they wanted. But to the 3 little ones, it was embarrassing to get free food without paying. Kids have their pride. Now, if it were Jiraiya a few decades older, he would have marched right in and shamelessly eaten his fill. Eventually, they decided to wait for Yuya to take them to eat barbecue. But another week passed, and with their vacation already halfway over, there was still no sign of Yuya. Curious about what he was up to, Jiraiya and Orochimaru wanted to ask, and even Tsunade was curious. But she was hesitant to go to the Hokage's office. The last time she'd been there, Senju Tobirama had scolded her. However, she reminded herself that he was on the front lines and wouldn't be around to scold her this time. With that, Tsunade confidently skipped toward the Hokage's office, humming. Everyone knew her, who didn't recognize the princess of Hidden Leaf Village. Just like Konohamaru visiting the third Hokage's office without hesitation. Well, maybe the comparison wasn't perfect? Anyway, as a Hokage's relative, little Tsunade could visit freely. When she reached the office, she knocked on the door, and a voice answered, "Please come in." Tsunade pushed the door open and called out, grinning, "Yuya. It's been forever since you took us for barbecue." Then she froze. Yuya's desk and much of the floor were covered with documents and papers. The Hokage's office was practically buried in them. He turned toward the door and sighed, "Oh, it's Tsunade. Sorry, I've been swamped and haven't had time to check in with you." He pushed a pile of documents to the side. "These are processed accounts from the steel plant. 13 managers have discrepancies in their bills. Inform the Anbu to begin surveillance." Behind him, Kagami Uchiha appeared, looking hesitant. "Sir, Anbu's manpower is running thin. There are already so many people to watch and arrest." Yuya waved dismissively. "Then arrest those under surveillance first, assign someone to manage them, and free up resources for further arrests." Kagami Uchiha nodded, although clearly reluctant. "Understood." He took the files and left. Yuya turned back to Tsunade, shaking his head with a tired smile. "Please tell Orochimaru and Jiraiya I'm sorry. I really don't have time to take you all out." Tsunade took in the overwhelming stack of papers and offered, "Can I help?" Surprised, Yuya smiled. "Certainly. But, how's your arithmetic?" Tsunade's face darkened instantly. She hated arithmetic. Though it was taught in Hidden Leaf Village, it hadn't been mandatory, until Yuya graduated and insisted it become a required subject. The culprit stood right in front of her. Yuya chuckled. "We're calculating Hidden Leaf Village's income and expenses for the year. A single mistake can affect dozens, even hundreds, of people. Is your arithmetic up to that level?" Embarrassed, Tsunade forced a smile and shook her head. As Yuya was about to console her, a nearby pile of documents suddenly shifted. "Finally finished." A voice groaned. Tsunade jumped back in shock. She hadn't realized there was someone under all that paperwork. Without much sympathy, Yuya handed the figure a fresh stack of papers. "Well, if you're done, take a look at this year's expenses for East District. Check for any inconsistencies." "Yuya. This is personal revenge." Shikaiya protested. He'd been cooped up here for half a month. Yuya used the Flying Thunder God to teleport for bathroom breaks and meals, rarely leaving the office otherwise. Shikaiya, lacking that technique, had only bathroom breaks and mealtimes as his few moments of freedom. Any other time, if he managed to doze off, Yuya promptly woke him. He was at his limit. Still, he couldn't just quit. With Yuya holding all the leverage, returning to the Nara clan empty-handed would be unthinkable. In the end, Tsunade decided to leave. But she made a silent vow to study arithmetic next year and come back to help. She then went off with Jiraiya and Orochimaru to catch hibernating animals on the mountain. Study? Well, next year, she'd definitely study hard. Meanwhile, Yuya had no time for the three little ones. He was overwhelmed. Development in Hidden Leaf Village brought more prosperity, but it also introduced more complications, requiring more intervention. This year, Hidden Leaf Village was more stable than the last, but there were more issues to sort out. He had anticipated some people would exploit their positions for personal gain. Still, he was shocked at how quickly this happened. The steel plant was barely 2.5 years old, yet they couldn't wait. Last year's year-end audit had been completed in just a week, thanks to collaboration. Each family had lent their ninjas to help with the accounts. But this year, it was all on him alone. Yuya hadn't expected the families to resist him so directly. He'd thought they might feign cooperation, hiding subtle sabotage underneath. Instead, they'd taken a crude approach, simply not sending any help. Did they honestly think he couldn't handle it? Laughable. If anything, they were only testing his patience. A week later, most of the files were cleared out. Yuya glanced at the remaining stack and sneered. Do they think I'm a fool? They're asking me to check every little detail. Do they have nothing else for me to do? What's next? Should they ask me whether to use my left or right hand in the bathroom? Throwing the papers aside, he turned to Shikaiya. Send all these back. Cancel everyone's bonuses this year. Half their wages, too. If I'm doing all the work, why should they get paid? Shikaiya was dismayed. Why did he have to deal with this? Even his own clan had ninjas on the payroll. Chapter 59,000 Hands Tobirama. It's so lively. There are two special moves in Yuya's hands. One is to control Hidden Leaf Village's economy. There is nothing to say about this. Most people in Hidden Leaf Village have no idea what the economy is. One is the appointment of personnel. There is a saying in banks that personnel means everything. Which area you are assigned to, your future is basically determined. In fact, This sentence applies to many places most of the time. Yuya worked as a salesperson in a manufacturing factory in his previous life. He had seen too many salespeople who were assigned to the corner areas to promote and work but had poor performance. Although these are appointments from the boss, they are also just one form of personnel transfer. However, Yuya has never planned to use personnel power. It's not like using personnel to transfer the ninjas from those families will make them angry or something. Yuya is not afraid that the two sides will break up at all. What Yuya wants to see is Senju Dobirama's face. It doesn't mean that Senju Dobirama has given you full authority to handle everything in Hidden Leaf Village, so you can really do whatever you want. Transfer this ninja to there today, and transfer that ninja to you tomorrow. The appointment of personnel is the most important. The current positions of these people were appointed by Senju Dobirama before, so Yuya cannot move. Just like when you are in a company and your boss is obviously a sycophant, you go to your boss to complain that the manager is not a good person. The manager is incompetent and everything is done by the employees. The boss will not look down upon you because of this little guy. He has placed a person in that position. If you say that his ability is not worthy of the position, that means the boss's decision is wrong. Although this may be true, you can't say it. Because it is the boss who pays your salary, and if you cause trouble for the boss, he will fire you or transfer you to a grassroots factory to work screws. You have no choice but to resign, because the future is already bleak to the naked eye. The metaphor is inappropriate, but that's the meaning. Even if Yuya, the person appointed by Senju Dobirama, had the power to transfer, it would be better not to transfer him. After all, Yuya didn't know if Senju Dobirama had any other purpose in placing this person here. This is very important. Yuya didn't want to touch the personnel appointments arranged by Senju Dobirama himself. There was no need. Although Yuya estimated that Senju Dobirama trusted him very much, it was best not to interfere with the power in Senju Dobirama's hands. As for these ninja families jumping in front of him now, as the saying goes, it's time to settle accounts after the fall. But it's not impossible to target now. This year's bonuses will be stopped. Then after looking at the reactions of these ninjas, Yuya just wanted to say, that's it. Can you do it? Keep going. Keep resisting. I've stopped your bonuses, so why don't you resist? It can only be said that now everyone really wants to save face, and they still clamor for things they do that are not authentic. These families who only know how to save face really cannot do such a thing. Of course, Yuya can handle the village's year-end accounting because although Hidden Leaf Village is developing very rapidly, the size of the village is still there after all. There are only a few 100,000 people in the entire village, which is indeed too few. Yuya calculated that only when the population reaches 10 million can he truly fulfill the basic scale standard of future Hidden Leaf Village in his mind. By the time, if Yuya is the only one, it will really be impossible to complete the year-end accounting. However, if the population wants to exceed 10 million, Hidden Leaf Village will definitely not be able to do it in one generation. It will be a little more aggressive to attract refugees next year. Although the people in Hidden Leaf Village are uneven in this way, it doesn't matter. Isn't there a police department? Although this organization was founded by Senju Dobirama in order to weaken the Uchiha clan and find something for them to enclose and enjoy themselves, Yuya is not willing to leave such a large group of people alone. Do nothing. Come here and give it to me. Well, you're going to be a cow and a horse for Hidden Leaf Village. I am not targeting your security department. You are calling me every day that your power is too small. Isn't it better to expand your jurisdiction now? Although they are all in charge of some monsters, just tell me whether the scope of power has been expanded. At the end of the 19th year of Hidden Leaf Village, Yuya, who was the acting secretary of the Hokage at the time, promulgated a heavily subsidized childbirth plan in the name of the Hokage's office. At the same time, he announced that Hidden Leaf Village's infrastructure would be spread to the outer cities of Hidden Leaf Village, so that people in the outer cities could also use tap water. As soon as this order was promulgated, the refugees in the outer city of Hidden Leaf Village, which at this time had tens of thousands of people living there, cheered. It has been a year since they came to Hidden Leaf Village. Basically everyone has work to do. After all, those with poor physical fitness who can make it to Hidden Leaf Village have long been eliminated. They also have spare money in their hands, and they can work every day. Go to the food store in Hidden Leaf Village South City to buy some food. But they can't go to the inner city of Hidden Leaf Village yet. The food store here in Nanking is licensed to sell food to refugees. However, if these refugees want to enter the inner city of Hidden Leaf Village, they need to live in the outer city of Hidden Leaf Village for 5 years and have no criminal record before they can enter the inner city of Hidden Leaf Village and receive a Hidden Leaf Village ID card like everyone else in the inner city of Hidden Leaf Village. Of course, some special talents can shorten this limit to 2 years or 1 year. That's right, it's a ninja, a powerful ninja. And this is the most basic expectation of these outer city people. There are only a few 100,000 households in Hidden Leaf Village, and it is standard for each household to have 2 couples, but now that life is getting better, ordinary civilians are naturally willing to have children. Compared with the people in the inner city and the outer city, they actually now have the flavor of an emerging force. But for Yuya, these are not problems. Do you want to come to the inner city after living in the outer city for 5 years? Good things are all in the inner city. After living in the outer city for 5 years, whether I rent or buy a house in the inner city, I can earn a lot of money. Wouldn't this be able to stimulate the economy again? And as long as they maintain the desire of the outer city people for the inner city, they will be the best group of people to manage. So now we have to let them see some benefits. Although some people from outer cities complain that people in inner cities have been using tap water for more than half a year before it is their turn, these complaints are good. He is a noble native of Hidden Leaf Village and has an inner city resident certificate since he was born. No matter how much you talk about it as an outsider, won't you still rush to get your hands on him if you have the chance to get an inner city ID card? And if you really want to say it, if you can't do it yourself, don't blame others. Someone X worked as a ninja for Hidden Leaf Village for a year and then went to the inner city to enjoy the blessings. Why can't you do it yourself? What's wrong? This has been the standard for so many years. Sometimes I think about my own reasons, whether I work hard, whether I am active, whether I am doing my best to contribute to Hidden Leaf Village. Anyway, this kind of publicity technique can be said to be readily available to Yuya. And the difference from the previous life is that everyone in the previous life was ordinary people. To facilitate management, the proportion of foreign population should not be too large to crowd out a living space of local people. But this world is different. There are ninjas in this world. What's the use of being an ordinary person? A ninja touches your door in the middle of the night and kills you all. No one will know about it until the next day. Atachi, Huku me. And if there are talented ninjas in the outer city, then come to the inner city. Hidden Leaf Village needs talents like you. The 19 years of Hidden Leaf Village were basically spent in these gossips. These common people don't care about what happens in the Hokage's office, and Yuya won't let them know. Rather than caring about this, let's go take a look at Hidden Leaf Village's front line. Hidden Leaf Village's front line. Well, I'm still having dinner and watching a show today. The main reason is that after what the Genian brothers did to Cloud Hidden Village, the Genian brothers must want to be the 3rd generation Raikage. And the slogans are all out. After becoming the Raikage, the first thing he did was Hidden Leaf Village. But the Raikage is not what their gold and silver brothers want to be. The people of Hidden Clouds Village are also bad-tempered, not to mention that the 2nd Hokage and the 8-Tails Jinchuriki at this time are brothers, dear friends and relatives. If you kill someone's eldest brother, won't they have to catch you and beat you? The Genian brothers did not adopt a gentle policy towards those who resisted them. They just said one word, do it. I will beat you until you are convinced. So, Hidden Leaf Village retreated to the Kingdom of Iron and stayed there every day to eat and watch movies. Although the consumption of materials is tight, the production at Yuya in the rear is almost overflowing, and all the excess production capacity is thrown to the front line. Anyway, the logistics must be guaranteed. It would be best if the front line of Hidden Leaf Village is not fought. Now it depends on the outcome of Hidden Clouds Village. Hidden Leaf Village's frontline troops will definitely not dare to retreat if the results of Hidden Clouds Village Aizen Village are not released. Next, let's see what Union says. Then at the beginning of the 20th year of Hidden Leaf Village, when the Hidden Leaf Village was still celebrating the new year, the Hidden Leaf Village frontline Sanjudobi Rama welcomed 2 envoys from Hidden Clouds Village. Hidden Clouds Village Hidden introduced himself as being sent by Hidden Clouds Village Hidden's current 3rd generation Raikage Kinkaku. The purpose was very simple. He asked Sanjudobi Rama to lead a team into Hidden Clouds Village Hidden Village to conduct a beheading operation on the leader of the rebel army. Kinkaku was at work. After success, he is willing to cede part of his territory to Hidden Leaf Village. Sanjudobi Rama laughed loudly, agreed to the envoy's request, sent the envoy out, then turned around and forgot about it. Do you think I'm stupid? Can I just watch the excitement in Union Village right now? Why should I take my team and go deep alone? You have to lead a large army. However, considering that the supply line is too long, and although Hidden Stones Village has signed a cooperation treaty with Hidden Leaf Village, the troops assembled by Hidden Stones Village have not disbanded, Sanjudobi Rama will not be so stupid as to lead the army deep. However, it didn't take long for Sanjudobi Rama to know why the ninja troops in Hidden Stones Village didn't disband. At the end of January of the 20th year of Hidden Leaf Village, Yuya in Hidden Leaf Village was still shaking hands and coughing with each other, and occasionally went to eat barbecue with the 3 little ones. Hidden Stones Village declares war on Kuzuno and Taki no Kuni because they charge too much tolls. In mid-February of the 20th year of Hidden Leaf Village, Hidden Sand Village declared war on Kawanokuni. The reason was that Kawanokuni collected too many tolls. In the middle of the same month, Hidden Mist Village declared war on the country of Uzumaki for the same reason. The country of Uzumaki collected too many tolls. Sanjudobi Rama made people stupid. No, why did they all start fighting all of a sudden? Is it so lively? And Union Village is also in civil strife, otherwise. Hidden Leaf Village also takes this opportunity to find an opponent to play with. Kyanjudo Bijian thought about it, pondered it over and over again, and finally decided. Keep eating and watching the show. I want to see what the hell you are doing. Chapter 60 Population Administration. It is indeed normal for this situation to occur. The cooperation between Hidden Leaf Village and several other Kage villages was valued at 1 million in the first year. When the three parties arrived in Hidden Leaf Village at the beginning of the year, Uaya directly offered them a contract worth 10 times that amount. Hidden Leaf Village will need at least 30 tons of fish from Hidden Mist Village this year. Similarly, purchasing goods from Hidden Stones Village requires at least 30 tons of various edible foods. As for the Sand Hidden Village, it seems that desert peppers are more reliable there, so let's acquire 30 tons of peppers. The people in Hidden Stones Village and Hidden Mist Village happily agreed, but the people in Hidden Sand Village looked embarrassed. They didn't plant that many peppers. Uaya feigned distress and told the people of Hidden Sand Village that this commodity is very popular in Hidden Leaf Village. If Hidden Sand Village can plant it this year, we can offer a price 20% higher than the market rate. If possible, planting more than 10 or 20 tons would be ideal, as the consumption of chili peppers is quite high. The representative from Hidden Sand Village assured them that it would be manageable. In the first year of cooperation, both parties were cautiously testing each other, unsure of the other's reliability. With the foundation laid in the first year, Uaya stopped pretending. Most of the goods purchased from the three villages in the first year were used up within half a month. Having understood the consumption needs, Uaya had a baseline. However, because the contract couldn't be altered at will, Uaya temporarily held back. The three groups left satisfied after the negotiations. Later, the leaders of the three parties realized they might have underestimated their situation. Meanwhile, the third generations of Hidden Mist Village and Hidden Stones Village were confirmed, stabilizing their villages, unlike Hidden Clouds Village, which was still in turmoil. The Sandame Mizukage and the Sandame Sushikage looked at the reports and estimated incomes, and were immediately alarmed. For instance, Hidden Mist Village had to pass through the country of Uzumaki to reach Hidden Leaf Village by water, incurring tolls. Previously, the tolls were nominal, but the country of Uzumaki decided last year to charge proportionally, taking 3%. Hidden Mist Village thought it manageable when they made 5 million taels with 150,000 going to the country of Uzumaki. However, if they earned 50 million, they'd owe 1.5 million. If they earned 500 million, would they owe 15 million? The third Mizukage was outraged. Likewise, the third Sushikage noticed that between Hidden Stones Village and Hidden Leaf Village, they had to pass through the country of grass, the country of Taki, and the country of rain. The country of rain was reasonable, only charging for travel assistance, but the countries of grass and Taki took commissions. Last year, these were small percentages, but now they seemed significant. The third Sushikage proposed a flat fee like the country of rain, but the other countries refused. This led to tensions. Meanwhile, Hidden Sand Village noticed these developments. They had paid tolls to the land of Sichuan and the land of rain without much thought, but seeing how Hidden Stones Village and others negotiated, they wanted to follow suit. After all, their water supply depended on cooperation with the land of wind and the land of rain, and they anticipated issues once their canal was completed. This situation mirrored previous alliances against Hidden Leaf Village, but this time, larger nations targeted smaller ones for tangible financial gains instead of elusive benefits. Private transactions with Hidden Leaf Village merchants were also more lucrative, though they incurred higher tolls. Uaya was napping in the Hokage's office when he heard these developments. It was the beginning of Hidden Leaf Village's 20th year, and the village was in a New Year's atmosphere. In response to Uaya's policies, ordinary citizens began a movement to increase the population. While Uaya didn't provide substantial benefits, he did distribute shopping vouchers and cakes at the year's end. People claimed these benefits for unborn children, arguing that a child in the womb should count as a Hidden Leaf Village resident. Uaya obliged, seeing it as typical behavior to seize opportunities. Creating a family was stress-free in Hidden Leaf Village due to available resources and housing. Economic growth masked many issues, but Uaya knew slowing growth could reveal problems. His solution was rapid development, ensuring life in Hidden Leaf Village remained better than elsewhere. To manage this growing population, Uaya considered establishing a new organization, thus writing down Population Management Bureau. Chapter 61 Hinata Kazuko. Since they are fighting so happily, it is unreasonable for us in Hidden Leaf Village not to express our opinions. This is what Yuya said when he saw the intelligence of other countries attacking small neighboring countries. Narashika was also a little confused. Is Hidden Leaf Village going to join the war? Yuya shrugged. Why not? Narashika was nervous, but the troops of Hidden Leaf Village are now with Lord Hokage, and they are all on the front line. In fact, there are still thousands of ninjas in Hidden Leaf Village. After all, Hidden Leaf Village is the base camp, so maybe someone will cause trouble? Yuya will never forget that there is a guy who is doing something secretly. Who said that to participate in a war, you have to fight on the battlefield. Yuya grinned. Didn't you know that war is a good opportunity to make a fortune? When the news that Hidden Leaf Village's products were on sale reached Hidden Sand Village, Hidden Mist Village, and Hidden Stones Village, it was nothing in the ears of Hidden Leaf Village's representatives. But when they saw the discounted products and various ninja tools and detonating charms, they reacted. Although it's only 50% off, it's still cheap after all, isn't it? Now is the time when the country needs these things. Buy them. If you don't buy it, you are not human. So Yuya cleared up Hidden Leaf Village's excess production capacity, and the businessmen in the village also made a lot of money and couldn't smile from ear to ear. Then within a few days, Yuya announced the opening of Hidden Leaf Village First Savings Bank with high profile. This is an organization that ties these businessmen to Hidden Leaf Village. Of course, these businessmen don't know it yet. Also promulgated at the same time was a new law, the currency code. Ordinary people don't need to care, after all, it's not targeting ordinary people. It stipulates in detail all actions involving currency, and no one except Hidden Leaf Village officials has the right to interpret them. Businessmen are complaining about these new regulations, not because they are dissatisfied, but because there are too many regulations, and they have to learn them all over again. In fact, they don't need to learn at all. They just need to know that if they do business honestly, they won't care about it. But as long as they do things they shouldn't do and touch things they shouldn't touch, there are always so many new regulations. Just one can send them to jail. There has been little news about other families in Hidden Leaf Village recently, which makes Yuya feel a little bored. He thought before that these families really wanted to go against him, but in the end, they gave in. Well, Yuya knows it's because of Senju Tobirama. These families definitely don't dare to openly oppose Senju Tobirama, but they must be dissatisfied with Yuya. Yuya naturally doesn't care about this. But some things really need to be put on the agenda. Since your family is playing cold violence with me, then I will use money to pry open your door. I don't believe that you are so noble that you don't even want to give me money. The first goal. Let's just say the Hyuga clan. The Hyuga clan, although they don't show great fighting prowess in the comics, still argues that they are the largest clan in Hidden Leaf Village all day long. As soon as the 3,000 ninja army of the Sarutobi family came out, you were the largest clan of hammers. Sarutobi, stop talking, stop talking. I really have my whole heart for Hidden Leaf Village. Of course, it cannot be denied that the Hyuga clan still has fighting ability. As for Uchiha, there is a saying in this family that ordinary ninjas are like that, but there are too many comparisons. Moreover, every generation has a gear that is outrageous if it has never stopped gearing. The reason why Yuya targets the Hyuga clan. Wasn't that what Uchiha had refused before? What else could he do if they had already refused? If others reject you today, will you rush to please others tomorrow? Cheap or not? When Yuya left the Hokage's office and walked toward the Hyuga clan, many people received the news. When Yuya came to the Hyuga tribe, all he saw was a group of Byakugan users with repulsive expressions. To put it bluntly, this eye technique is actually a bit penetrating. But Yuya is not afraid, he just looks scary. Hinata, no one in Hidden Leaf Village dares to attack him directly. That would force Senju Tobirama to write down something in his little notebook. Look at Uchiha, just because he couldn't deal with Senju before, he abandoned Madara Uchiha and hugged Senju's thighs without even taking Tobirama with him, and he kept targeting him. This shows how narrow-minded this person is. People from other families don't want to be the next family targeted. Yuya felt confident and went directly to the Hyuga clan. These Hyuga ninjas could only keep retreating, and no one dared to step forward. The corners of Yuya's mouth raised, as expected. It was exactly what he thought. Asshole. You're actually here. Then a figure jumped out and stood in front of Yuya with his hands on his hips. The corners of Yuya's mouth twitched, he did know the person coming. Hinata Kazuko. During his school days, he was often cheated by Yuya. Long time no see, Kazuko. Yuya greeted. However, Kazuko approached Yuya with his hands on his hips. Do you want the Hyuga clan to become the laughingstock of everyone in Hidden Leaf Village like the Uchiha? Last time, Yuya's plan to let Itachi Uchiha bring back the Uchiha clan's hospital with a morgue made the Uchiha clan lose face. It's very strange. Yuya really wanted to make Uchiha rich, but because of some rumors, Uchiha gave up. The hospital has not yet been built. However, the medical ninjas Yuya has already collected and is cultivating, or rather training, a group of girls who are clever and handy. Basically, the first batch of doctors will be available in 1 year or at most 2 years. Therefore, Yuya has to build the hospital within 2 years at most, and at the same time gather the small clinics in Hidden Leaf Village. These doctors are also precious. But there are beasts like ninjas in this world, so there is no need to rush to build them. Yuya shook his head helplessly at Hinata Kazuko. Whether you believe it or not, I was really doing them good. Hinata Kazuko looked at Yuya with a look on her face like, you think I'm a fool? Yuya has a clear conscience. If Uchiha really agrees, Yuya will definitely not be able to deliberately deceive him. That's not because they didn't agree, so what else is there to say? But unlike the Uchiha clan, he is determined to defeat the Hyuga clan, and it won't be easy for anyone to do it. I said. Yuya thought about this and grinned with a kind smile. Hinata Kazuko only felt that her scalp was numb. It didn't matter that she was cheated by Yuya in school. Now that she had graduated and become a genin, this guy actually came to her door. Hinata Kazuko took a deep breath and then stretched out her hands and shouted loudly to Yuya, he is not here, the clan leader. Yuya was speechless. Who is looking for your clan leader? Anyway, your Hyuga clan is not the clan leader to make decisions, so what's the use of looking for him? Hinata Kazuko was stunned. Did Yuya dare to say this directly? In the end, Yuya was invited into the Hyuga tribe. Fortunately, the elites of the Hyuga clan have followed Senju Dobirama to the front line, otherwise Yuya would be even more arrogant. After all, if the Hyuga clan leader and those elite Hyuga ninjas come back, then Senju Dobirama will come back too, and Yuya won't have to take off directly. Every family in Hidden Leaf Village has problems to one degree or another. Uchiha will not mention it, the entire family has problems. As for Hinata, it is a normal power struggle within the clan. Thank God, in this ghost place of Hidden Leaf Village, family fighting actually makes a family look extremely normal. Chapter 62, Reading People Accurately. Yuya finally met with Hinata's clan elders. The elders in Hinata didn't look pleased, and they were obviously dissatisfied with Yuya targeting them. A previous trip to the Uchiha family had made the Uchiha clan the laughingstock of the elders. Did this brat want Hinata to become the laughingstock of Hidden Leaf Village as well? Yuya's first words, delivered with a smile, put Hinata's clan elders to shame. Elders, don't look so grim, I'm here to help Hinata. Why would we need your help? Hinata doesn't need it. Go away. Get out of here. Even though they thought this, as the saying goes, you don't hit a smiling person. After all, Yuya had been placed in this position by Senju Tobirama. They couldn't dare to drive Yuya away outright. Hinata's former clan leader, Hinata Hyuga, said calmly to Yuya, Agent, please don't joke. It's hard for you to come all this way. If you have nothing to discuss, please return. Hinata hasn't arranged food for you. Yuya smiled, showing no sign that he was being chased away. Old patriarch, you jest. Although you are older and have retreated to the sidelines, many matters in Hinata still need to go through you. While I've traveled a long way, seeing you is not hard or troublesome. Hinata and Hinata Hyuga's faces turned green. What a little beast. Who is he blaming? Moreover, Yuya continued with a smile, I came here to help the Hyuga family. The Hyuga family has been facing some financial difficulties recently, right? Hinata immediately denied it. How could that be? The Hyuga clan is a prominent clan in Hidden Leaf Village. If there were issues with Hinata, it would imply problems for the village. Yuya ignored the sarcasm in the elder's words and stated his purpose directly. It's not the same at all. The inner city is developing very well, with the land usage optimized to the point that every inch is accounted for. In contrast, Hinata's clan land, such a large area remains so empty. It makes my heart ache. Hinata Hyuga nearly cursed. This clearly illustrated Yuya's intentions, right? He was clearly eyeing the land of the Hyuga clan. Hinata Hyuga retorted, since the establishment of the village in Hidden Leaf Village, the Hyuga clan has experienced 2 Hokages and has contributed immensely to the village's development. Hidden Leaf Village should not treat the Hyuga clan this way. Seeing the elder's pitiful act, Yuya didn't respond but smiled and agreed with Hinata. You are correct, the Hyuga clan has made significant contributions to Hidden Leaf Village's development, and thus Hidden Leaf Village should reciprocate with many benefits for the Hyuga clan. Hinata and Hinata Hyuga were speechless. How could they all end up in this situation? There was no way out. Yuya was as shameless as a city wall, refusing to answer the question. So, Hinata Hyuga had to ask, what exactly does the agent want to do with Hinata's clan land, and what benefits can the Hyuga clan expect from this? Determined, he thought he would resolutely reject whatever proposal Yuya might suggest. Yuaya smiled. I plan to use 1/3 of the Hyuga clan's lawn to build a daycare center with an amusement park, specifically designed for children. No. My Hyuga clan. A daycare? What is this? Hyuga waved his hand, initially refusing. But then he realized, this concept of a daycare. He had never heard of it before. Yuaya explained that it was a place specially prepared for children between 1 and 6 years old. Their parents need to work during the day, and Hidden Leaf Village's current population consists mostly of middle-aged individuals with fewer teenagers. Last year there was a wave of pregnancies, and this year, it's foreseeable that there will be another wave of baby boom. Almost every household in Hidden Leaf Village has someone working in a factory, and many of them have 2 working parents. After a child is born, if there is no daycare, one of the parents must stay home to care for the child. However, with a daycare center, parents can leave their children there during work hours and pick them up after work. This way, both parents can work, right? Moreover, Yuaya pointed out that as this group in Hidden Leaf Village gradually ages in 20 years, the demand for daycare will not diminish but stabilize due to a new wave of baby boomers. Furthermore, in Yuaya's initial design sketch, although the daycare would require a large area, it wouldn't need 1/3 of the Hyuga clan's land. More importantly, the construction of the amusement park was crucial. Yuaya had long observed that as the people in Hidden Leaf Village had more disposable income and fewer entertainment options, some of their high-energy post-work turned into drinking and aimless wandering. Many resorted to gambling, appearing like losers. The key is, many people fall into this category. Some are hopeless gambling addicts, while others genuinely need some form of entertainment to break the monotony of factory work. Currently, because the time has been short, there are no significant issues. In other words, the rapid economic growth has masked any problems that might arise. Yuaya could not accept such a future, so he intended to find a way for these individuals to release their pent-up energy. He knew that the world of Naruto could indeed create electricity and networks, but he didn't know how. Moreover, the Naruto movie versions included filmmaking tools, indicating potential for cultural and entertainment industries. It was unfortunate that Yuaya didn't know how to utilize electricity or the internet. But that was irrelevant. Entertainment facilities had existed in history long before the internet. Let's build an amusement park first to see how it performs. If it doesn't succeed, we can demolish it and build a primary school instead. Yuaya's series of words left Hinata and Hinata a bit confused. They had never seen such a posture before. At this moment, Gulyalu started to make noises, suggesting that the daycare tied to the amusement park had become Hidden Leaf Village's hope for the future. However, since the agent is so optimistic about this organization, I would like to ask, how much benefit can you guarantee this organization will bring to the Hyuga clan? Hyuga sneered internally. He had never heard of this daycare concept, and Yuaya expected to use 1/3 of the Hyuga clan's lawn simply by saying such things? Did he think Hinata was an idiot? Yuaya replied with a smile, there are 187,926 households in the inner city of Hidden Leaf Village, with a total population of over 610,000. All ninja families account for about 1/5 of this population. However, according to the household registration ratio, one ninja family can only be counted as one household. Of course, we won't concern ourselves with this, and these ninja families are not the targets of the daycare, as their children will naturally be taken care of at home. Our target is naturally the ordinary people, those Hidden Leaf villagers who are busy working and have no time to care for their children. Hinata and Hinata were speechless. Why did it come back to them? Yuaya continued, based on a monthly income of 1,000 taels per person, if every household with children in Hidden Leaf Village places their children in a nursery, each household would contribute around 12,000 taels per year. The income of the daycare center could potentially reach nearly 2 billion taels. Hinata was stunned for a moment, then his breathing became heavier. Even the other elders of the Hyuga clan behind him gasped at the figure. 2 billion. They had never discussed such a number in their lives, nor had they ever seen such wealth divided by 10. Yuaya continued with a smile, of course, the real situation is more complex. Although Hidden Leaf Village's population base is large and the elderly population is small, there are still some. The elderly are ideal candidates to help care for children without requiring additional payment, so we must consider that. Additionally, there are parents who do not work for various reasons and stay at home. I know several people who can only do handicrafts or small businesses from home due to injuries. There are quite a few of these individuals. Excluding cases where parents simply do not wish to place their child in a daycare center. I estimate that the revenue for the first year after it officially opens will be around 400 to 500 million taels. Hinata's hand, which was holding his beard, nearly broke. This number excited him immensely. Yuaya made the final point, of course, I won't force the Hyuga clan. If the Hyuga clan doesn't want to be involved, I can go to Shimura and Sarutobi. However, because the Hyuga clan has always been a backbone of Hidden Leaf Village, with the talent of the humorous and the backbone of the village. The first clan I thought of was you. I looked at Hinata Hyuga with a smile. So, old patriarch, what do you think? Hinata and Hinata Hyuga were silent. After a long pause, the corners of his mouth curled up, and the expression on his face resembled a blooming old chrysanthemum. Agent, you are truly skilled at judging people. Who else would I rather be in this matter? It has to be my Hyuga clan. Chapter 63 Whirlpool. When Hyuga came out of the Hyuga main house, Hyuga Hao, the former old patriarch who was deeply loved by the Hyuga clan, personally escorted Hyuga out, and a smile on his face never faded. Oh my friend, are you really not going to stay with us, Hinata, for dinner today? Our Hyuga clan still has some delicious dishes. Hyuga chuckled and replied, No, there are still many things to deal with. I think the old patriarch also wants to see the facility completed as soon as possible. When everything is settled, I will definitely come to ask Hinata for a jug of good wine. The old patriarch must not be stingy at that time. Definitely. Hyuga and Hinata walked out of the back room happily, and Hinata Hueco's mouth opened in a no shape. When did these two become so familiar? Hyuga and Hinata both selectively ignored Hinata Kazuko. Hyuga said goodbye to Hinata and Hao with a smile, and the two agreed again to hold a celebration banquet once everything was settled. After Hyuga left, the smile on Hinata's face suddenly disappeared. He put his hands in his sleeves and looked at Hyuga's departing figure, lost in thought. Grandpa, patriarch. Hinata Kazuko was even more shocked when he saw the old patriarch, who seemed to have changed his expression. Didn't you just share joy with Hyuga? Hinata looked back at Hinata Kazuko, his expression slightly relaxed, but then became tense. Hueco, come here, Grandpa wants to ask you something. Hinata asked Hinata Kazuko everything about Hyuga. Although Hinata Kazuko didn't know much, she only remembered that she and Uchiha often quarreled in school. But this was enough for Hinata. Old patriarch, why are you asking these questions? Hinata Kazuko was a little confused. Hinata smiled and waved his hand, indicating that Hinata Kazuko could leave. Hinata knew that the plan proposed by Hyuga was very attractive, but whether it would generate hundreds of millions of taels of revenue a year was doubtful. It was impossible for Hyuga to make such a bold claim and for him to believe it just like that. If he were so naive, he wouldn't have been able to sit in the position of the Hyuga clan leader. Besides, if it was Senju Hashirama who said this, he would definitely believe it. But for a 14-year-old kid to claim this, how could he possibly believe it? After thinking for a long time, Hinata raised his head and ordered someone from the tribe, go and ask Chief Sarutobi to come over. This wasn't about hedging his bets. Hinata is different from Uchiha. Uchiha is looked down upon by Senju Dobiramo because of historical issues. Hinata didn't have this problem. Moreover, the current head of the Hyuga clan had taken his clan members to the front line with the second generation. No matter what, the Hyuga clan should not be targeted by Senju Tobirama. Therefore, Hinata could perform actions that Uchiha dared not. Like openly contacting other families and acting as though they are united. Of course, if the profits after everything settles are really as high as Hyuga claimed, or even if they're only half, then they, Hinata, would be the first family under the most loyal god Jinyu since ancient times. Sarutobi? Even if Sarutobi comes to power, can he bring such great benefits to Hinata? Cannot? Then you are of no use to me. After Hyuga left the Hyuga clan and returned to the Hokage's office, he received a report from Kagami Uchiha. After Hyuga left, the Hyuga clan sent someone to invite people from the Sarutobi clan for tea. The other party didn't even bother to hide it. Kagami Uchiha was furious about this matter. This was an obvious double-dealing behavior. Was the pleasant conversation with Hyuga just an act? However, Hyuga laughed a few times and waved his hand, saying it didn't matter. Hyuga wasn't surprised or angry that the Hyuga clan did this. To be honest, wasn't it convenient for Hyuga that the old patriarch of Hinata made this decision? In any case, the Hyuga clan did agree to Hyuga's plan to give out 1/3 of the clan's territory. Now that Hinata has agreed, they cannot go back on their word. If the old Hyuga clan leader didn't do such a thing, Hyuga really wouldn't know what to do with the Hyuga clan. Of course, Hyuga has 1,000 ways to make Hinata give back what they took, but if Hyuga really did that, what would other families think of him? Hinata just gave their land to Hyuga. If Hyuga profited from the land, shouldn't they have a share? If Hyuga doesn't give it, his credibility will be challenged. In simple terms, no one would dare to follow him in the future. But things are different now. If Hinata acts like this, then I will target them a bit in the future. As long as I don't go too far, no one can say anything to me. It was Hinata who started playing double dealing and was the first to publicly hedge their bets on the next Hokage successor. I spent 10 million to get Nara out of trouble. Now the Nara clan isn't struggling with me. You bet on me while flirting with other families, so don't complain when I target you. Kagami Uchiha couldn't understand it, but Yuya did. The current situation in Hidden Leaf Village is stable and improving, and the general environment is peaceful, so the fight between these families over the position of the third generation can be a bit out of line. Not for anything else, just to express an attitude to Senju Dobirama. His family, Shenjinua, is not convinced, and the third generation has better candidates. The candidate will be discussed internally. This attitude is very important. Many times if you don't express your attitude, others will definitely ignore it even if they know what you think. If you don't express your attitude yourself, how can you make others respect your opinions? Of course, although Yuya knows it in his heart, he must do something about it. So Yuya asked Kagami Uchiha to spread the rumor that Yuya smashed the table in the Hokage's office. This was to inoculate him against the Hyuga clan in the future. After hearing this, Hinata and Rao felt even more disdainful. After all, he was just a kid who couldn't hold his breath and acted embarrassed after being stabbed in the back. How could such a person be the third Hokage? Sure enough, the third generation must be chosen by several of our elder families in Hidden Leaf Village to ensure better development and continued strength of Hidden Leaf Village. This way, their family can always occupy a high position in Hidden Leaf Village. Putting all this aside, with the Hyuga clan agreeing to Yuya's proposal and being the first to take advantage of it, Yuya no longer needs to sell his plan as aggressively as before. If other families can continue to sit still after seeing the benefits brought by Yuya's plan in a few years, then Yuya won't actively seek them out. If they can remain indifferent, so be it. What does it have to do with me? If necessary, I can build hospitals, schools, newspapers, plazas, landmarks, etc. in the outer city of Hidden Leaf Village closest to the inner city and surround the inner city wall. Do you really think I have to win you over? This was Yuya's thought and approach. Then, one day at the end of February in the 20th year of Hidden Leaf Village, Uzumaki Mido sent someone to invite Yuya. She needed help because the country of Uzumaki, where the Uzumaki clan resided, was besieged by a war initiated by Hidden Mist Village. Chapter 64 Assistance is necessary. Yuya knelt down on the tatami, taking in the familiar decoration style around him. Although he hadn't been back for a long time, the decor of his home remained unchanged, almost the same as before. Yuya. Did you hear what I just said? Uzumaki Mido noticed that Yuya was lost in thought and immediately frowned. Yuya snapped back to reality and looked at his master's wife with calm eyes. Actually, I didn't listen much after you mentioned that you wanted to talk about the Uzumaki clan. Because there's no need. Uzumaki Mido was taken aback for a moment, and then her expression turned sour. She looked at Yuya with hope still lingering in her eyes. Is there really? No way? Yuya sighed and then explained the situation to Uzumaki Mido. The reason Hidden Mist Village hadn't launched a war against the Land of Whirlpools before was due to the limited scale of business between Hidden Mist Village and Hidden Leaf Village at the time. In other words, the official cooperation between these two villages wasn't substantial, so the officials of the Land of Whirlpools didn't suffer much loss. Previously, the primary toll collectors in the Land of Whirlpools were the merchants from Hidden Leaf Village and Hidden Mist Village. Although the merchants in Hidden Mist Village would pay fees to their village, they weren't significant. Hidden Mist Village might even feel some schadenfreude seeing these merchants overcharged. But things are different now. The treaty signed between Yuya and Hidden Mist Village at the beginning of the year increased business tenfold, including 30 tons of fish. Don't think it's a lot. The 30 tons of grain and vegetables sent from Hidden Stones Village were sold out in just 1 month. It's not that the people of Hidden Leaf Village are excessive eaters, they just used to fear hunger. Now, they'd rather have surplus vegetables at home, so they stock up. This is a simple civilian mindset. It is foreseeable that Yuya will definitely expand the contract limit next year. Of course, just like last year, this matter can't be raised by Yuya but by Hidden Mist Village or Hidden Stones Village. As for Hidden Sand Village, the second Kazekage is working diligently on the canal, and it is estimated that it will be completed in another 5 or 6 years, provided no one interferes and efficiency is maintained. But before that, let's expand on desert peppers first. The second Kazekage isn't an idiot, and it's impossible for him to completely forego growing food. Although he doesn't understand economic dependence, growing his own food saves money. Yes, the second Kazekage didn't see through Yuya's plan to tie up Hidden Sand Village with food. It was purely because Hidden Sand Village was too poor. The first Kazekage captured the tailed beast himself and kept it until now. There was also a riot because the sealing technique in Hidden Sand Village was honestly a bit lacking. Mainly because what kind of skilled ninja family with strong sealing techniques would come to Hidden Sand Village? Hidden Leaf Village next door has been attracting talent. Isn't it better to go to Hidden Leaf Village to enjoy a life? Ninjas with sealing skills are scarce in the 5 elemental nations, and no one would refuse them. So Hidden Sand Village is still struggling with Ikabi Shukaku. By the way, in the original Naruto Chronicles, the reason why the second Kazekage didn't take advantage of this moment to stab Hidden Leaf Village in the back was because he needed to completely control Ikabi and find the best Jinchuriki container. It can only be said that although the process is different, the second Kazekage is really pursuing different paths to the same goal. Let's spread the chili peppers before returning together, then it's all money. In fact, Hidden Leaf Village officials also give millions of taels of income to the Land of Whirlpools every year because some businessmen from the Uzumaki clan in Hidden Leaf Village have been brought together by Uaya to jointly open a steel factory, and now they jointly run a savings bank for settlement. Gradually, they were tied to Hidden Leaf Village's ship, enjoying the annual dividends. In truth, their sales channels had been penetrated by Uaya long ago and could be replaced by Uaya's own people at any time. However, Hidden Leaf Village is indeed short of manpower now, and secondly, they aren't aware, so they just haven't reacted. But Uaya knew it, and technically speaking, the Land of Whirlpools was trying to get money from Hidden Leaf Village through him. Considering Uzumaki Mido's relationship, Uaya turned a blind eye. Anyway, there will definitely be people who are dissatisfied with him in the Land of Whirlpools. For instance, other families in Hidden Leaf Village are envious of these dividends. In the original Naruto Chronicles, the Land of Whirlpools was attacked and destroyed, scattering the Uzumaki clan members worldwide. Toru and his mother were used as recovery tools by a group of beasts from the Land of Grass, living lives worse than death. Nagato's parents couldn't escape to the Land of Rain, and the reason they didn't come to Hidden Leaf Village was precisely because Hidden Leaf Village didn't help when the Uzumaki clan was attacked, allowing them to be exterminated. Hidden Leaf Village's ninja uniforms are engraved with whirlpools, symbolizing the friendly relationship between Hidden Leaf Village and the Uzumaki clan. As a result, the Uzumaki clan didn't see Hidden Leaf Village send troops to rescue them until they were destroyed. The Uzumaki clan hates those who attack them, but they hate Hidden Leaf Village even more. They promised to be friendly for generations and to protect the Uzumaki clan, but this was the outcome. This is why the Uzumaki clan members are unwilling to go to Hidden Leaf Village, even if their lives are worse than death. Of course, Hidden Leaf Village's failure to send troops might also relate to the fact that Sarutobe Hiruzen was the third Hokage at that time. Sarutobe Hiruzen, who mainly focused on internal conflicts, probably had the mentality of supporting the Uzumaki clan as long as he could, planning to help after solving internal issues. Then he waited for the Uzumaki clan to be exterminated and Naruto to be born. During this period, more than 30 years passed before he resolved the village's internal strife. Let's not talk about the original development. Let's focus on the present. The current Land of Whirlpools is blocking the trade route between Hidden Leaf Village and Hidden Mist Village. It collects money from both parties, making nearly tens of millions of taels a year in travel expenses. Not to mention Hidden Mist Village, even the ninja families in Hidden Leaf Village are dissatisfied with this. Why? After all, even if the Uzumaki clan takes a piece of land, it is still just a ninja family. In terms of strength alone, they are probably not as strong as any of the 3 clans, Sarutobi, Shimura, and Hyuga. Then why do they receive so many benefits? Believe it or not, when the Land of Whirlpools is defeated, most ninja families in Hidden Leaf Village will applaud and refuse to agree to send troops. After all, this is only now. It is visible to the naked eye that the Land of Whirlpools will definitely gain more benefits in the future. Who isn't jealous? Do you think Hidden Mist Village will allow the Land of Whirlpools to continue collecting tolls on the trade route between the 2 sides? Impossible. They must be beaten to death. After hearing what Uaya said, Uzumaki Mido felt as if the world was spinning. After all, she was still a member of the Uzumaki clan. Even if she was dissatisfied with the leader and elders of the Uzumaki clan, she wouldn't want to see the Land of Whirlpools destroyed. Then, is there no way to save the Land of Whirlpools? Will the Uzumaki clan really be wiped out? Uaya was slightly stunned and looked at Uzumaki Mido with some confusion. Why do you ask, Master? Although the Land of Whirlpools will definitely be attacked, there's no way Hidden Leaf Village would let it be destroyed. Uzumaki Mido was dumbfounded. Then you just... Oh, I was just explaining why the Land of Whirlpools would be attacked, so that's okay. Uaya thought for a moment, took out a scroll, and drew a rough map of Naruto's world on it. This is the Land of Whirlpools, this is Hidden Leaf Village's outlet, this is Hidden Mist Village, and this is the Land of Bears. Putting aside the Land of Bears, which is very useful as strategic depth, other places are of little use. If the Land of Whirlpools is destroyed by Hidden Mist Village, Then Hidden Leaf Village's outlet to the sea will be targeted by Hidden Mist Village. After that, Hidden Mist Village can increase its troops, expand the area where the Land of Whirlpools originally was, and even turn it into a military base, with the goal of Hidden Leaf Village. By then, they might not attack Hidden Leaf Village when they are in a good mood. But if they are in a bad mood, Hidden Leaf Village's long coastline will be within their attack range. Even if they just grab a handful and run like bandits, the Land of Fire won't be able to withstand it. If their banditry continues, Hidden Leaf Village will definitely have to fight Hidden Mist Village to reclaim this place. My opinion is that instead of waiting to start a war with Hidden Mist Village later, it is better to assist the Land of Whirlpools now, at least to ensure that it won't be destroyed. Uzumaki Mido breathed a sigh of relief and couldn't help but hit Uaya on the head. You kid. Can you say everything at once? Uaya covered his head, feeling speechless. But it doesn't matter. He used to be beaten by his master's wife in the past. He actually misses being beaten a little bit now. But that's not the point. The point is, these are ideal scenarios I'm talking about, but there are still less than ideal scenarios. Uzumaki Mido quickly asked, what is an unideal scenario? Uaya, the Uzumaki clan is overconfident, or in other words, they think too highly of themselves and underestimate Hidden Mist Village. Then they make a big mistake and fall all at once. Uaya phrased it more diplomatically. What he meant was that he feared the Uzumaki clan might not even withstand Hidden Mist Village's first charge and would be pushed aside. Uzumaki Mido thought for a while and shook her head. This should be impossible. Although those clan elders are foolish, they can withstand the first wave of attacks. Uaya nodded. That's no problem. Hidden Leaf Village will help the Land of Whirlpools, that is. Uaya sighed helplessly, it's just that Hidden Leaf Village's development has to pause. I originally thought we could build the hospital and kindergarten first this year. Uzumaki Mido suddenly felt a little embarrassed, realizing the Uzumaki clan hadn't handled the situation well. Not only do they share profits with Hidden Leaf Village when times are good, but when trouble arises, they are the first to run over and cling to support. Ah, by the way, Master, if you have time, please let the Uzumaki clan send a group of people. Although Hidden Leaf Village must help the Uzumaki clan, the definition of the two things, whether the Uzumaki clan asks us for assistance or we take the initiative to assist them, is different. Can you understand, Master? Uzumaki Mido nodded. I will explain it clearly to them. Uzumaki Mido's demeanor changed, and Uaya almost applauded. It seemed that Master was truly angry with those guys from the Uzumaki clan. So angry. If I get really angry, I can enjoy the spectacle. Uaya doesn't like being beaten himself, but he loves watching others get beaten the most. Kurama, wonderful. Bravo. Mido, can I go inside that little brat's belly? I think his life there is much more exciting than yours. It should be interesting. Mido. Chapter 65 Someone coming from the Whirlpool. At the end of February in the 20th year of Hidden Leaf Village, members of the Uzumaki clan arrived in the village. Around the same time, Senju Tobirama received a notice from Uaya and ordered the main forces to retreat from the Land of Iron. Tobirama, leading his personal bodyguards, returned to the village ahead of the others. Uaya, however, wanted to complain about this. Could he stop being so particular about bringing bodyguards everywhere? For someone with the Flying Thunder Godjutsu, bodyguards seemed unnecessary. Instead, they were just a burden, slowing him down. Uaya kept these thoughts to himself, though. Of course, Uaya understood Tobirama's reasoning. These bodyguards were the next generation leaders of Hidden Leaf Village's major ninja families. Tobirama would never allow anything to happen to them. Yet, from Uaya's perspective, all those people combined didn't amount to the security Senju Tobirama himself provided. With Tobirama present, Uaya's influence was significant. Without him, many things would fall apart. For instance, if Tobirama hadn't returned, the Hyuga clan would never have agreed to give up a third of their land. Without Tobirama's backing, the Hyuga wouldn't even allow Uaya into their territory, let alone entertain discussions of cooperation. At least, Tobirama made it back safely. This was likely because Hidden Cloud's village was dealing with internal strife, while Hidden Stone's village had conflicts with the Land of Taki. And as for the Land of Grass? Well, the Land of Grass surrendered the moment Hidden Stone's village declared war, effectively submitting to Hidden Stone's village's control. Only the Land of Taki managed to resist. Interestingly, the Land of Taki owned a tailed beast purchased from Senju Hashirama, the Seven Tails. While not the strongest in direct combat, its abilities, flight, invisibility, and long-range explosive attacks, made it a devastating weapon, especially for surprise assaults on enemy territory. Currently, Hidden Stone's village had pushed the Taki ninja into a corner. If both sides unleashed their tailed beasts, mutual destruction was inevitable. With the Land of Grass already submitting, Hidden Stone's village's only remaining path to Hidden Leaf Village was through Taki. However, the newly appointed third Tsuchikage, Onoki, seemed determined to establish his authority by using Taki as a proving ground for his leadership. At barely 30 years old, Onoki was in his prime, and war served as a useful tool to consolidate power and unify his village. Meanwhile, in Hidden Leaf Village, the arrival of the Uzumaki clan's envoy sparked pride among the villagers. Yuya, along with officials like Narashikei and Kagami Uchiha, personally welcomed the delegation in the outer city. The Uzumaki envoy initially felt honored by the high level of courtesy. But Yuya, smiling warmly, began leading them through the streets of the outer city, pointing out the ongoing construction projects and explaining the significance of Hidden Leaf Village's expansion. This, Yuya explained, gesturing to the newly built residential areas, is the first wave of development in the outer city. The second wave will accommodate more people coming to Hidden Leaf Village. The envoy leader's expression froze as Yuya continued enthusiastically. Yuya then introduced them to the city's primitive transportation system, human-powered railcars operated by physically trained ninjas. Each car could carry up to 20 passengers, provided they weren't too heavy. Though basic, the system was a prototype for larger projects Yuya was spearheading. Hidden Leaf Village, Yuya explained, was investing heavily in research and development, including electricity. Using a special ore with magnetic properties, Hidden Leaf Village's scientists had devised a way to generate power. The technology wasn't yet ready for civilian use, but Yuya demanded results within 5 years, or the researchers would face consequences. Yuya also mentioned cracking Hidden Sand Village's puppet techniques. While the technology was impressive, Hidden Leaf Village had little use for it. Puppets were practical for resource-poor villages like Hidden Sand Village, but Hidden Leaf Village's wealth allowed for more advanced strategies. By the end of the tour, the Uzumaki envoy had a deep appreciation for Hidden Leaf Village's power. They were likely convinced that Hidden Leaf Village could, and should, help the land of Whirlpool. Now the question remained, Dad, when will you come save your son? You can't just abandon the land of Whirlpool. Chapter 66 Must surrender. Of course, Yuya knows that the Uzumaki envoys are in a hurry, but there's no need to worry yet. Let me take you to see the steel factory first. Yuya led the envoys to the steel plant, which had been expanded into 15 factories and could now be called the Steel Industrial Park. The sight of 15 combined steel plants was quite impressive. At the very least, the Uzumaki envoys' eyes widened in astonishment. Afterward, Yuya took them to the food processing factory park. It housed a canning factory, a specialized snack processing factory for biscuits, fructose, and various snacks, among others. There was also a livestock farm, though it was farther away, located several kilometers north of Hidden Leaf Village, near the mountainous area. The farm had a variety of cattle, horses, pigs, and sheep. However, their numbers were still small. Yuya planned to raise over 100,000 of each animal before starting meat sales to bring down the exorbitant price of meat. Currently, meat prices were nearly 100 times those of vegetables. Yuya considered this unacceptable. At most, the price difference should only be 20 times. Even though the vegetables available now were essentially wild, selling for just 1 or 2 taels per pound, the future of Hidden Leaf Village would inevitably require planned cultivation of vegetables. However, Hidden Leaf Village's industrialization remained incomplete. While it was far ahead compared to other major nations, most of whom still relied on dirt roads, it still fell short of Yuya's standards. At the very least, Yuya mused, we need to complete the industrial foundation, producing clothing and other essential products. Afterward, Yuya took the Uzumaki envoys to visit Hidden Leaf Village's beverage factory and then planned to show them the textile factory and brewery under construction. He decided not to show them the secondary steel processing plant, where steel was made into farm tools, pots, pans, and other daily necessities. As for the tertiary processing plant, where steel was forged into weapons, Yuya purposely avoided including it in the tour. The technological gap between the secondary and tertiary processes wasn't large, and Yuya knew better than to risk sharing secrets. After all, in the Naruto world, there could always be a genius capable of photographic memory and reverse engineering. It was better to play it safe. Agent. Though Yuya still had many places in mind to visit, the ninja leading the envoy group finally couldn't bear it anymore. He took a deep breath and addressed Yuya politely. We, visitors from the small nation of Uzumaki, have fully understood Hidden Leaf Village's industrial progress. Now, could you please introduce us to the esteemed Hokage? Yuya blinked, then smiled. Oh. You want to meet Hokage-sama? Ha ha ha, you should have mentioned that earlier. The Uzumaki envoys let out a collective sigh of relief. They didn't have time to waste, but their lower status meant they had to endure. Yuya's laughter filled the air, and he apologized for the misunderstanding. Ha 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 ha. However, Yuya's tone shifted abruptly. No. His smile vanished, replaced by a serious expression. Ga? What? Yuya narrowed his eyes and repeated, Hokage-sama doesn't want to see you. The Uzumaki envoy looked shocked. Why? Hidden Leaf Village and Uzumaki have shared a friendship for generations. The first Hokage himself forged this bond with the Uzumaki clan leader when he founded the village. The second Hokage is the younger brother of the first Hokage. How could he break the promises of the first Hokage? The Uzumaki envoy turned and pointed accusingly at Yuya. It must be you. You must be lying. Take us to the Hokage immediately. As the envoy lunged forward, Kagami Uchiha stepped in, dodging swiftly and pressing a kunai against the Uzumaki envoy's neck. The envoy froze. Yuya patted Kagami Uchiha's shoulder, signaling him to step back. Kagami put away the kunai and retreated behind Yuya. Yuya stared down at the defiant envoy, shaking his head with a sigh. You talk of generations of friendship, but don't you think what you said is ridiculous? Yuya's voice boomed as he grabbed the envoy by the collar, pulling him down to eye level. The Uzumaki ninjas tensed and reached for their weapons, but Kagami Uchiha's Sharingan activated, freezing them in place. Eternal friendship? Yuya's voice rose. Your so-called friendship is nothing more than collecting tolls from Hidden Leaf Village merchants without offering a shred of support. When our merchants pass through your country, they pay you fairly. The least you could do is provide a team of ninja escorts to ensure safe passage. But have you ever done that? No. Hidden Leaf Village loses cargo ships every year near your waters because of whirlpools and undercurrents. Although the losses are small, your negligence ensures they continue. And now, when Hidden Mist Village refuses to pay your tolls and wants to destroy you instead, you suddenly remember our so-called friendship. Yuya released the envoy, his voice seething with anger. Tell me, where is your shame? Where is your gratitude? Has your country of Uzumaki ever done a single thing to benefit Hidden Leaf Village? Not once. Yet now you demand our help? Yuya's words carried an undeniable force, silencing the envoy. Chapter 67 2 billion Yuya would not be idle enough to wander around the village with the Uzumaki messenger. Nor would he suddenly get angry and frighten the other party, it was all just an act. After finishing his performance, Yuya turned and left, leaving the Uzumaki envoy confused. He wasn't worried about pushing them into despair. After all, they weren't alone in Hidden Leaf Village. Uzumaki Mido, although somewhat senile, still carried considerable influence. This was partly because Senju Tobirama, unlike in other timelines, had not taken his elite team to Hidden Cloud's village and fallen victim to a conspiracy. He remained in office, focused on the ongoing civil strife in Hidden Cloud's village. As Senju Hashirama's apprentice, Yuya enjoyed a connection few were aware of, especially the Uzumaki envoys. They also didn't know about the Ninetales, Kurama, sealed within Mido, though Kurama's size certainly made the idea of him being big-mouthed a humorous understatement. When Yuya dismissed the Uzumaki envoy, as expected, they immediately rushed to Uzumaki Mido, falling to their knees and crying in desperation. Mido, however, remained unmoved, her cold demeanor unyielding. She had long known the true nature of these envoys. If they genuinely cared for their fellow clansmen, they would not have ignored her for so many years, only to approach her now whenever they needed something. Sometimes, Mido even entertained the thought of dying and reuniting with Hashirama in the afterlife. But her duties as the Ninetales Jinchuriki, and Yuya's presence, kept her grounded. After a long afternoon of kowtowing and tearful pleading, Mido finally relented, though she made them wait a few more days, as Yuya had predicted. Yet her resolve crumbled quickly, she softened within a day, much to no one's surprise. The next day, Senju Tobirama met with the Uzumaki envoy, crushing their last hopes. They had clung to the faint possibility that Yuya's actions did not represent Hidden Leaf Village's stance, but Tobirama's cold, stern demeanor made it clear that wasn't the case. In fact, Tobirama's barely veiled anger left the envoys trembling. His resentment toward the Uzumaki clan was no secret, rooted in their failure to support Hashirama during his passing. The Uzumaki clan hadn't even attended his funeral, despite Hashirama's bond with Uzumaki Mido and Hidden Leaf Village's assistance to the Whirlpool country. For an hour, Tobirama unleashed a tirade on the envoys, showcasing a vocabulary Yuya hadn't known he possessed. Finally, Tobirama concluded by declaring Hidden Leaf Village's forces were preoccupied guarding against threats from the Land of Lightning. We can spare half of Hidden Leaf Village's army to protect the Whirlpool country, he said, his tone biting. How about that? The envoys hesitated. Half of Hidden Leaf Village's army? They understood the implication, this wasn't assistance but occupation. Eventually, they stammered out a request for fewer troops, 1 or 2,000 at most. Tobirama's expression darkened. Afterward, Tobirama turned to Yuya and said, He's my full-time secretary and representative. Any further discussions go through him. With that, Tobirama left abruptly. The envoys were stunned. Not wanting Hidden Leaf Village to send troops, yet needing their help, they faced an impossible choice. Yuya, unfazed, offered a cheerful solution: no troops, then. Instead, we'll provide supplies. Here's a list, with a 10% discount, of course. Reviewing the list, the envoys were shocked. It included everything from detonating tags to massive transport ships, priced astronomically. The mention of ships left them particularly flustered. What are we supposed to do with these? One envoy asked. Yuya grinned. Oh, they're labeled as transport ships. What you use them for is none of my business. The envoys balked at the idea but knew their nation couldn't afford such luxuries. They reluctantly settled on small quantities of essentials like ninja tools, food, and detonating tags. That evening, Yuya returned to Mido's residence, where Tobirama awaited him. Tobirama's first question was predictable: how much do they owe? Yuya smirked. 2 billion ryo. Tobirama's eyes widened in disbelief. What? 2 billion? Do you actually think they'll pay that back? Chapter 68, Conspiracy and Having Both Ends, 2 in 1, Why do you want to give them back? What I want is that they don't give them back, Yuya said with a sly smile. Senju Tobirama silently began to unbuckle his belt, intent on disciplining the young troublemaker. Wait. Uncle Master, please wait for my explanation first. Yuya pleaded, raising his hands defensively. Senju Tobirama sneered. The annual toll from the land of whirlpools is just over 10 million ryo. Do you plan to have them repay us for 200 years, or do you intend for them not to repay at all? Yuya rolled his eyes and calmed Senju Tobirama down, thinking, I'm just a junior uncle worried about losing money, not understanding economics. By investing in the future, profits will surely follow. Yuya began explaining the concepts of primary, secondary, and tertiary industries to Senju Tobirama. The primary industry in the land of whirlpools was well developed, supplying part of Hidden Leaf Village's food. However, their secondary and tertiary industries were almost non-existent, much like Hidden Leaf Village before its current development. Most countries in the Naruto world relied heavily on agriculture, with little to no industrial presence. As for the tertiary industry, transportation was not advanced enough to support its robust development. Yuya proposed that the land of whirlpools could become Hidden Leaf Village's offshore port and a hub for outsourcing less desirable industries in the future. This meant moving polluting industries like steel plants and coal mines to the land of whirlpools once Hidden Leaf Village developed further. What? You even want to relocate the steel factory there? Are you an undercover agent sent by the Uzumaki clan to sabotage Hidden Leaf Village? Uzumaki Mido's expression was bewildered. The profitability of the steel plant was apparent to anyone. Mido even questioned whether Yuya was truly from the Uzumaki family, but his black hair was evidence enough of his Hidden Leaf Village lineage. Yuya shrugged helplessly. I mean in the future, Uncle Master. For now, the Uzumaki clan's issues with Hidden Mist Village haven't been resolved. You'll understand in time, Uncle. By then, the steel factory's profits will seem trivial. He continued, if the factory is moved to the land of whirlpools, they can use their own minerals first. When their resources deplete, they can import from other countries, preserving our own. Isn't it wise to use others' resources before tapping into ours? Senju Tobirama paused, contemplating Yuya's proposal. For now, he decided to listen. Yuya outlined his plan. The land of whirlpools owed Hidden Leaf Village a debt, and in some ways, they needed to compromise their interests. Hidden Leaf Village would benefit from toll-free passage for at least 20 years. The interest, albeit a meager 1% annually, amounted to 20 million ryo yearly. Utilizing this influence, Yuya aimed to penetrate the land of whirlpools market. He planned to establish a newspaper factory, paying taxes and providing monthly publications to entertain the locals. If they opposed, they'd have to repay the debt. He would open chain restaurants and fast food outlets, potentially squeezing out local businesses. If they objected, repay the debt. Hidden Leaf Village would set up mining operations and grain processing plants, exploiting local resources while paying taxes. Unwilling? Repay the debt. With future advancements in electricity, Hidden Leaf Village would control the land of whirlpools' power grid. If they ever rebelled, a nationwide blackout could be enforced. Senju Tobirama's military occupation? Too low a stake. For complete control, Hidden Leaf Village needed to dominate the land of whirlpools' critical enterprises, including power, communications, manufacturing, transportation, and possibly finance. When the time came, what could the land of whirlpools rely on? Their economy would be at Hidden Leaf Village's mercy. With this strategy, was Hidden Leaf Village's 2 billion ryo investment truly a loss? Senju Tobirama pondered deeply, not fully grasping the intricacies but trusting Yuya for now. Oh, Uncle Master, one more thing. I need 100 tons of the gold you acquired from the Kingdom of Thunder. Yuya added. Senju Tobirama nearly stumbled, his body betraying him as he turned sharply, an incredulous expression on his face. You little rascal. Repeat that. He demanded. Yuya quickly handed him a document. Uncle, see for yourself. This is all yours. I only need the gold as a security deposit in the bank. It won't be used. Senju Tobirama's skepticism turned to shock as he perused the figures. The sum exceeded 10 billion ryo. He looked at Yuya, who smiled knowingly. The funds were under the Hidden Leaf Village Savings Bank, located within the Sarutobi clan, though control resided with the Hokage, Tobirama himself. But with such wealth, could the Sarutobi clan resist temptation? Yuya feigned concern, expressing regret for not establishing the bank closer to the Hokage's office for better oversight. Senju Tobirama mulled over the situation, realizing Yuya's strategy was transparent yet effective. The Sarutobi clan's proximity to the bank posed a risk, but Tobirama's intervention was crucial. Uzumaki Mido and the Nine Tails, intrigued by the unfolding drama, found the situation entertaining. As Mido relaxed, reading the newspaper, a headline caught her attention: 13 high-ranking Sarutobi ninjas imprisoned for embezzlement. The Nine Tails expressed dissatisfaction, wishing for harsher punishments, but Mido dismissed it as fanciful thinking. Curious about Yuya's backup plan if Tobirama hadn't intervened, Mido, with the Nine Tails' help, discreetly asked him. Yuya revealed he would have spread rumors about the bank's insolvency, leading to a mass withdrawal and forcing accountability on the Sarutobi clan. Mido marveled at Yuya's cunning, while the Nine Tails relished the chaos. However, the Uzumaki clan's grievances soon resurfaced, seeking Mido's intervention. Hidden Leaf Village didn't help you? Mido asked, confused. The Uzumaki ninja replied, not only did they help us, but they also aided Hidden Mist Village. The ninja tools they used against us were still marked with the Hidden Leaf Village seal. Mido was speechless, while the Nine Tails acknowledged the cleverness of Yuya's strategy. Chapter 69 Really making money. Yuya never said that he would sell resources exclusively to you, the Kingdom of Whirlpool. War can be a lucrative endeavor if used wisely. Sure, this may be immoral, but I didn't instigate it. You collect tolls on both ends, and if the weaker ones get beaten, isn't that their own fault? Secondly, no one ever stipulated that I can only assist you and not others. Hidden Mist Village is a loyal partner of Hidden Leaf Village. Just consider the tax revenue generated by the 10 shops on the commercial street. It amounts to tens of millions of taels annually, with rent adding tens of millions more. By comparison, your Hidden Eddy Village contributes far less. Hidden Leaf Village benefits much more from Hidden Mist Village. How could Hidden Leaf Village not cooperate with such a valuable partner? Of course, I wouldn't say this directly to the Uzumaki clan. Uzumaki Mido was also somewhat helpless. What could she even say? This situation originated with your own country of Whirlpool. After all, Hidden Mist Village is a ninja village of the Land of Water, standing on equal footing with Hidden Leaf Village of the Land of Fire. Why do you think you can control them? It has been 3 years since Hashirama's death, and 2 since it was officially announced. Do you still believe no one dares to challenge the Kingdom of Whirlpool as they did over a decade ago? What are you thinking? Have you really mistaken Hashirama's influence for your own power? Although Uzumaki Mido was exasperated, she sighed and decided to help the Uzumaki clan when she saw her distraught clansmen. The Uzumaki clan members were overjoyed and left happily. That night, Yuya was summoned back home. Mido Uzumaki looked at Yuya, who knelt before her with a composed expression. Don't you have something to explain to me? She asked sternly. Yuya looked confused. What? No, I don't. Uzumaki Mido's anger flared. The Uzumaki clan came to see me today. Don't you know what they said? Yuya remained puzzled. Surveillance? Well, the Anbu ninjas protecting you were assigned by my uncle. I don't meddle in their duties, and they don't report to me, so I'm not privy to your affairs. Did they come again? Didn't we just send them 5 large ships? Do they still want more? They'll have to offer something in return. By the way, the copper mine in the middle of the Whirlpool country could be mortgaged to Hidden Leaf Village. I'd pay 10 billion, no, 20 billion taels. How about it, mistress? I'm giving you a very favorable deal for your sake. Uzumaki Mido's expression softened, not because of the copper mine Yuya mentioned, as she didn't understand its value or location. Instead, she was relieved by Yuya's clear lack of ulterior motives. Senju Tobirama, while not devoid of family affection, prioritized Hidden Leaf Village far above Uzumaki Mido, his sister-in-law. For Tobirama, Hidden Leaf Village came first, and Mido's value as the Nine Tails Jinchuriki surpassed her familial role. As a living weapon capable of protecting an entire village, Obirama ensured no vulnerabilities surrounded Uzumaki Mido. Without her Jinchuriki status, his treatment of her might have been different. Still, Uzumaki Mido harbored no resentment. Having endured wartime, she understood such priorities and was willing to sacrifice herself for peace. However, being willing to sacrifice didn't mean it was easy. Complaints lingered in her heart about Obirama's coldness. Yet, looking at Yuya, obediently kneeling before her, she felt satisfied. "Don't kneel so formally here, it'll hurt your legs," she said, waving him off. "Just sit comfortably like you always do." Yuya grinned and shifted into a relaxed position. "So, mistress, why did you summon me today?" Uzumaki Mido explained the Uzumaki clan's visit and asked, "Isn't it improper for Hidden Leaf Village to supply both the Whirlpool Country and the Land of Water?" Mido had planned to appeal to morality, but Yuya simply grinned and laid out the economics. Supporting the Whirlpool Country is essential to ensure it remains aligned with Hidden Leaf Village. But as for the war, so long as Hidden Leaf Village supports the Whirlpool Country, it won't collapse. Even if we supply Hidden Mist Village, they can't completely overtake the Whirlpool Country. We sold 30 million taels worth of ninja tools this strip, earning millions in profit. Stopping this trade would mean losing a massive income for Hidden Leaf Village. Uzumaki Mido hesitated. But won't this prolong the war and lead to more deaths in the Whirlpool Country? Yuya shrugged. The war can end tomorrow if the Whirlpool Country declares defeat and negotiates peace. Hidden Leaf Village can intervene to prevent their destruction, negotiate with Hidden Mist Village, and secure their withdrawal. But if the Whirlpool Country insists on tolls, Hidden Mist Village will keep fighting. Uzumaki Mido fell silent. While she disliked the idea, she knew the reality Yuya presented was accurate. The next day, Mido tried persuading the Uzumaki clan. However, upon learning of the immense benefits Hidden Leaf Village's trade expansion with Hidden Mist Village would bring, they decided to continue the war. More than 10 million taels in tolls, a fortune they couldn't resist. Back in Hidden Leaf Village, Yuya waited all day in the Hokage's office. When no one from the Uzumaki clan came to discuss peace, he understood their choice. "Well," Yuya sighed, "I gave them the chance. But since they're blinded by greed, they can't blame me." He smirked. The war would continue, and so would his profits. "It's snowing in Wuhan," he mused. "So cold." Chapter 70 Refugees In the 20 years since Hidden Leaf Village's establishment, the entire ninja world has inexplicably avoided starting a war with one major country, Hidden Leaf Village. Meanwhile, the other great nations, lightning, water, earth, and wind, are all at war. Yuya licked his lips, deciding to postpone his original plans to manufacture the first batch of shovels, hoes, and sledges for the Land of Fire. Instead, he ordered the steel factory to pause and shift focus to producing kunai, shurikens, shields, katana, and other ninja tools. The Land of Whirlpools and Hidden Mist Village were embroiled in conflict, and several other nations were also at war. Isn't this the perfect time to make money? He thought excitedly. Later generations would confirm that, during this period, Hidden Leaf Village earned nearly 8 billion ryo annually from selling weapons. Adjusted for inflation in later generations, the sum would be even greater. This lucrative trade marked Hidden Leaf Village's first significant accumulation of wealth. In a remote mountain range within the Land of Fire, a group of weary figures trudged forward on the muddy trail. They were a mix of men, women, and children, holding hands and supporting each other. "Masashi, Zayu, let's rest. Everyone is exhausted." A middle-aged woman with tattered clothes, torn by vines, stones, and branches, pleaded with the muscular man leading the group. The man, Amino Masashi, remained silent for a moment as he glanced back at the group behind him. Half the people were on the verge of collapse. The woman spoke again. "Aren't we already in the Land of Fire? Hidden Mist ninjas wouldn't pursue us here, right?" After a moment's hesitation, Amino Masashi nodded and sighed. "All right, let's rest here for now." The group immediately scattered to rest wherever they could. The weather was mercifully clear today. If it had rained, many of the older members of the group might not have survived. Amino Masashi was a member of the Amino family, a clan that had once belonged to a small ninja village before being wiped out in a war decades ago. A few survivors went into hiding, living as civilians and working as laborers or farmers. Over time, the family rebuilt in the Land of Rivers and started a modest business transporting hot spring cakes to the lands of wind and fire. However, the humid Land of Rain was not a suitable market for their goods. Years later, Masashi's older brother, Amino Kenjiro, heard that the Senju and Uchiha clans had reconciled and were planning to create a village together. Seeing this as an opportunity, Kenjiro proposed moving their family to the new village, Hidden Leaf Village. At the time, only 3 members of the Amino family agreed to leave. The others, content with their comfortable lives in the Land of Rivers, mocked their decision to go to Hidden Leaf Village. 3 years ago, rumors of Hidden Leaf Village being besieged by other nations began to spread, and a war did indeed break out. Worried for his brother's safety, Masashi sent him a letter. To his surprise, Kanjiro replied, reassuring him that civilians and non-combatant ninjas were safe in Hidden Leaf Village. Over time, their correspondence grew frequent, though each letter took weeks to arrive. Masashi remained skeptical about Hidden Leaf Village's chances of survival, especially with rumors of Hidden Clouds Village, Hidden Stones Village, and Hidden Mist Village all planning to attack. However, Kanjiro expressed unwavering confidence, sharing tales of Hidden Leaf Village's resilience, including a story of a young boy rallying the village to donate supplies. To Masashi's astonishment, Hidden Leaf Village held its ground. While Hidden Stones Village and Hidden Mist Village turned their attention elsewhere, only Hidden Clouds Village continued its assault. Stories from travelers at the hot springs of the Land of Rivers painted Hidden Leaf Village as a prosperous and formidable village. Masashi's curiosity about Hidden Leaf Village grew, and he resolved to visit the village when the war ended. But before he could act, Hidden Sand Village launched an invasion of the Land of Rivers. Forced to flee, Masashi led his family and other refugees toward Hidden Leaf Village. What began as a small group had grown to over 100 people, though the journey claimed the lives of many elderly and infants. As the group rested, Masashi's wife turned to him. Masashi, do you really think Hidden Leaf Village is as good as they say? And do you think they'll take us in? Will they give us food? Or shelter? Masashi took a deep breath. I don't know. But it's all we have left to hope for. Suddenly, the sharp sound of kunai slicing through the air broke the silence. Swish, swish, Masashi jumped to his feet, weapon in hand. Moments later, 3 figures appeared before the group. Each bore a headband engraved with the Hidden Leaf Village symbol. Ninja. Masashi muttered, tightening his grip on his weapon. The leader of the trio frowned, eyeing Masashi's kunai. Realizing their misunderstanding, Masashi immediately dropped his weapon, raising his hands in surrender. Wait. We mean no harm. We're refugees from the Land of Rivers. I've heard Hidden Leaf Village accepts refugees. If not, we'll leave. Just don't attack us. The 3 ninjas exchanged glances before one of them clasped his hands and closed his eyes in concentration. A moment later, he opened his eyes and turned to the leader with a grin. 125 people. And 101 of them meet the requirements. Captain, we've hit the jackpot. Masashi blinked in confusion. Requirements? What requirements? The captain coughed awkwardly before approaching Masashi with a friendly smile. Ah, no need to worry. We don't mean any harm. We just have a quick question. He glanced over the group. How many of your people are in their 20s or 30s? Chapter 71 Amino Yuya deeply understands that developing the economy requires 2 key elements, technology and population. Especially now, when resources need to be exploited, and the foundation for industry needs to be established, the first basic condition for any industry is clear, roads. What's the use of having abundant resources if they can't be transported? Do we need manpower to build roads? Yes, we do. Do other factories need workers? Also, yes. Sometimes, Yuya feels overwhelmed, wondering if he's taken too ambitious a step. He dreams of laying the foundation for industry, opening factories, and building roads, yet the population doesn't even exceed 1 million. There simply aren't enough people. It's really not enough. Factories are now scrambling to recruit workers. This is just for factories. Yuya also plans to build a road running through the entire Fire Country. How much manpower and material resources will this take? Without a road, it currently takes more than half a month to transport supplies to Yinian Village. If the road were repaired, this time could be cut in half. In the future, when Union's internal conflict is resolved, Yuya plans to seek cooperation with them. The Kingdom of Thunder has excellent domestic resources, pastures, cattle, and sheep. Yuya is eager to tap into that potential, but the road will have to come first. As for Hidden Sand Village, they can wait. After these 2 roads are complete, Yuya will focus on them. Patience is key. For now, there's simply no manpower to build roads. If only the Hidden Leaf Village road engineering team hadn't been disbanded after completing the village roads. Once disbanded, factory owners swooped in, recruiting workers with every trick in the book. One owner even used a beauty trap, promising his daughter's hand in marriage to 3 skilled workers to lure them in. After the contracts were signed, the truth came out. Outrageous. Yuya was furious, but what could he do? The labor shortage was critical. If the local workforce wasn't enough, he had no choice but to look outward. Refugees arriving at Hidden Leaf Village became a crucial resource. Anyone who could endure the hardships of travel to reach the village was resilient and could be trained. So, Yuya issued an order. Ninja patrol teams were tasked with escorting refugee groups back to the village safely. Furthermore, Monetary rewards would be provided based on age, 10,000 taels for children under 10, 20,000 taels for those aged 11 to 19, 50,000 taels for adults aged 20 to 30, 30,000 taels for those aged 31 to 40, 20,000 taels for those aged 41 to 50, and 10,000 taels for anyone over 51. This policy would remain in effect for 1 month. As expected, the decree created a stir among ninjas. Money motivates. Patrol teams soon became highly efficient, bringing in refugees by the dozens. One such team brought over 100 people, led by Amino Masashi, to the special registration office in Hidden Leaf Village's outer city. Wow! Kojiro, how many people did you bring this time? A fellow ninja exclaimed, wide-eyed. This must be dozens. You're about to get rich. Kojiro grinned, urging his colleague to process the registrations quickly. Each refugee needed to be recorded, name, age, and any disabilities. By the way, are you hungry? Kojiro asked Amino Masashi, clearly in a good mood. It wasn't just his mood, Kojiro's team stood to earn over 3 million taels from this group alone. Even after splitting it among his teammates, Kojiro would take home over 1 million. That was more than a month's salary. However, when Amino Masashi hesitated, saying, there are over 100 of us. It's a lot to feed. Kojiro quickly clarified, oh no, I'm not inviting you to my table. There's a porridge shop set up for refugees. Come with me. Joking aside, feeding over 100 mouths wasn't something Kojiro could afford. At the porridge shop, the owner, Uncle Jen, teased him, Kojiro, you lucky dog. Most people only bring a handful, maybe a dozen at most. And here you are with more than 100. How much did you make? Kojiro laughed it off, but the truth was undeniable, this opportunity was too good to pass up. He quickly delivered the refugees to the porridge shed before setting off on patrol again with his team. For Kojiro, every day counted. He dreamed of leading another group like this and earning enough in a month to rival 2 or 3 years' wages. Opportunities like this were rare, and civilian ninjas without clan support had to seize every chance to make money. Meanwhile, Amino Masashi, holding a bowl of hot porridge, couldn't help but marvel at the vast difference between Hidden Leaf Village and his homeland in Kawanokuni. The roads in Kawanokuni's Yunan village were dirt, barely passable in bad weather. Yet here, in Hidden Leaf Village's outer city, the roads were paved with unfamiliar yet clearly superior materials. Masashi regretted not coming to Hidden Leaf Village 20 years earlier with his elder brother. But regret was pointless now. After finishing his meal, he resolved to find his way to the refugee camp's guide and begin searching for his brother, Amino Kanjiro. Chapter 72. Do you not want to, or do you dare not? Amino Masashi did meet his brother, Amino Kanjiro, that night. After all, it's just a matter of asking someone to pass on a message. Even if it's no big deal, civilians are usually willing to help each other. Moreover, most people here are civilian ninjas, and some of them actually knew Amino Kanjiro. The Amino brothers embraced each other excitedly. A candle was lit, and the two brothers talked through the night. Amino Masashi smiled and remarked that he didn't expect the outer cities of Hidden Leaf Village to be so clean, with smooth roads. Amino Kanjiro smiled back and replied that the inner city is even better, the ground is paved with blue bricks. Amino Masashi smiled reluctantly and continued, mentioning that the outer city has public toilets that are cleaned daily, something he found truly surprising. Amino Kanjiro laughed and added that the inner city also has public toilets, but most people don't use them because everyone has their own toilets at home, the kind with a lever that flushes. Amino Masashi's smile became more strained. He then commented that the outer city was much better than Kawanaguni, as there were even people assigned to escort newcomers to their residences. Amino Kanjiro replied that his family, consisting of 7 members, had been allocated 3 houses in the inner city. Their main house has 5 floors, though 2 floors are shared with others. He added that he plans to save enough money to buy those 2 floors. Amino Masashi fell silent, and the conversation shifted to other topics. When it was time to part, Amino Kanjiro explained that he had to return to the inner city. Since Amino Masashi hadn't lived in Hidden Leaf Village for 5 years, he wasn't permitted to enter the inner city yet. Amino Masashi was furious, but Amino Kanjiro only laughed and left his brother's temporary residence, a cramped 20-square-meter room. Looking around his room and reflecting on his brother's words, Amino Masashi resolved to try integrating into Hidden Leaf Village the next day. And he soon discovered it was actually quite easy to integrate. Factory workers would visit the refugee camp daily to persuade people to work. They provided food, accommodation, and weekly wages, which made the offer appealing. However, many refugees were still too fearful and mistrusting to accept these opportunities. Amino Masashi didn't hesitate. He raised his hand immediately, volunteering to work. For the next week, no one in the refugee camp saw Amino Masashi. Speculations and conspiracy theories began circulating among the refugees. But after a week, Amino Masashi reappeared, wearing clean, well-fitted clothes, workshop-issued attire, and brought his wife and children with him. Seeing this, other refugees began enthusiastically signing up for work. The happiest person about this development was Yuya. It's good that they're willing to work. Yuya thought. I've already provided optimal conditions. If they still refuse and expect Hidden Leaf Village to support them, then they'll only eat porridge for the rest of their lives. The refugees' greatest fear seemed to be that Hidden Leaf Village wouldn't treat them as people and might send them to the front lines as cannon fodder. But Yuya knew that, with time, those who started working earlier would inspire others. The stark contrast between workers and non-workers would become evident once Hidden Leaf Village stopped accepting refugees. Yuya believed this contrast would motivate others and also satisfy the vanity of those who worked hard. Comparison often breeds a sense of pride, especially when one is on the dominant side. Meanwhile, the civilian ninja patrols were actively expanding their operations, venturing up to 100 kilometers beyond Hidden Leaf Village. Some Uchiha clan members, eager to capitalize on this, suggested bringing back refugees in sacks. They didn't dare go that far, though. Elsewhere, Senju Dobirama had returned to Hidden Leaf Village, prompting various ninja families to send representatives to gauge his stance on these developments. Among them was Sarutobi Hiruzen. Dobirama shook his head, clearly disappointed. I expected better from you. Dobirama said, his tone heavy with regret. Sarutobi Hiruzen lowered his head in shame. Dobirama sighed. I took you under my wing because I believed you could lead the Sarutobi clan. But you're still not satisfied. Tell me. Do you desire the position of Hokage that much? Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly responded, I wouldn't dare. Dobirama narrowed his eyes. Is it that you don't dare, or that you don't want to? Sarutobi Hiruzen fell silent. Chapter 73, Who is Afraid of Whom? Seeing how Sarutobi Hiruzen opened and closed his mouth, Senju Dobirama already understood. He sighed and then waved his hand at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Forget it, let's not talk about it. You're here because of what Yuya did this time, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated for a moment before replying, he's being too unreasonable and unscrupulous. He is even selling weapons to both warring sides, Hidden Mist Village, Hidden Sand Village, Yunin Village, Hidden Waterfall Village, Hidden Stones Village, and Hidden Eddy Village. He's sold weapons to all of them, and it has significantly impacted Hidden Leaf Village's reputation. The merchants from the Sarutobi family are saying other villages are very dissatisfied with our actions this time. Senju Dobirama sat opposite Sarutobi Hiruzen, quietly observing him. After listening patiently, Senju Dobirama slowly shook his head. Do you know why I came to the Sarutobi clan's compound to meet you instead of asking you to come to the Hokage's office? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked stunned. I don't know. Dobirama continued, because I don't want a third person to know about this, least of all Yuya. If he finds out, your Sarutobi clan will be wiped off Hidden Leaf Village's family list. 30 years from now, there won't even be a family called Sarutobi with nearly 1,000 ninjas. There will only be a villager named Sarutobi living in Hidden Leaf Village's inner city, working as a civilian, not a shinobi. Do you understand? Sarutobi Hiruzen lowered his head, lost in thought. Dobirama took a deep breath, his blood-red eyes locking onto Sarutobi Hiruzen. Monkey, are you upset about Uchiha and their support for Yuya's mission? If so, I don't blame you. In fact, I support you. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up, surprised. Dobirama calmly explained, the Uchiha clan is steeped in darkness. Their bloodline is cursed. While Yuya is in power, they won't dare act out. But the moment he's gone, they'll inevitably cause chaos. Hidden Leaf Village cannot allow the Uchiha clan to grow unchecked. I understand Yuya's abilities. That's why I've come, not to chastise you for targeting another Hidden Leaf Village family, but to warn you formally. You were right to act against Uchiha. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes lit up with determination. But Dobirama's next words wiped the hope from his face. However, you cannot target Yuya. It's not favoritism, it's the reality that none of you, not all of you combined, can match him. Do you understand? You can oppose Uchiha, and I'll protect you. But if you go against Yuya, there's nothing I can do. If he decides to destroy your family, it will happen sooner or later. By then, the only family in Hidden Leaf Village capable of opposing Uchiha will be the Hyuga. Dobirama didn't mention the obvious, the Hyuga clan was opportunistic. They'd side with whoever had the upper hand. If Yuya ever lost power, they'd be the first to abandon him. Hiruzen gritted his teeth. I understand, teacher. But we need an apology from Yuya. If he apologizes to the Sarutobi clan, I will fully support him as Hokage. Dobirama stared at Hiruzen's eager expression, and the realization hit him like a thunderclap. It wasn't about power, accountability, or uniting families. The Sarutobi clan was holding a grudge over past humiliation. Yuya's swift arrest of 13 Sarutobi clan members had been a public embarrassment. They'd embezzled funds, yes, but they believed it was justified, merely a temporary cash flow issue that would be repaid. Instead, Yuya had acted decisively, humiliating them in front of the entire village. Obirama sighed, knowing his words would be wasted. From today onward, stay behind closed doors. No matter what your clan demands, do not step out. Have someone deliver you the daily newspaper. When the time comes, cut off half of the Sarutobi clan's land and offer it to Yuya as a gesture of goodwill. Otherwise. Obirama didn't finish the thought, turning to leave. Outside, he looked at the bustling streets of Hidden Leaf Village's inner city, lit by the newly installed electric lights. The vibrant nightlife contrasted sharply with the Sarutobi clan's compound, shrouded in darkness. Well, Obirama muttered, there's no reason they can target Yuya and not expect retaliation. Hidden Leaf Village's future rests with him. 3 weeks later, Yuya reviewed the numbers. Hidden Leaf Village had taken in over 13,000 refugees, though Yuya suspected some were forcibly relocated from the Fire Nation. Still, he shrugged it off. If you come to Hidden Leaf Village, you're one of us now, he said, shaking his head in disappointment. He'd once hoped for the kind of destiny where the other Ninja families worshipped him. But that fantasy was long gone. Fine. Yuya muttered. Let's play. That night, Sarutobi clan merchants discovered they'd been blacklisted. Promised supplies, food, cloth, and other materials were cut off. Even the Hokage's office, which never collected fees from ninja clans, sent an official to demand payment for water bills and cleaning services. The total cost for the Sarutobi clan's territory? 220,000 ryo per month. For the Sarutobi clan, the money wasn't the issue, it was the humiliation. Senju Obirama made no statement. The Sarutobi clan understood, Yuya had made his move. Fine. They said bitterly. Let's play. Who is afraid of whom? Chapter 74 Picture Presentation regarding internal conflicts. Yuya's attitude is that there's no such thing as perfection, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just let people fight it out, it's not a big deal. Which force doesn't have internal conflicts, after all? Well, this is just psychological comfort. Other ninja villages also deal with various civil strife, and in Union Village, they've even escalated to open fighting. After several months of conflict, there's still no clear winner. Internal fighting is no small matter, but Yuya is confident he can stabilize the situation, at least enough to prevent it from worsening. As for using the strategy he told Uzumaki Mido to deal with the Sarutobi clan, that's only a last resort. Using a tactic like a bank run could severely damage the Sarutobi clan, crushing their vitality and destroying their reputation. However, it would also harm the savings bank. Trust is intangible yet invaluable. Once it's consumed, it's gone for good. So unless there's no other option, Yuya can't afford to use that method. For now, he'll let the merchants and the Sarutobi clan tear at each other like dogs. This marks the first time Yuya shows his hand. The Sarutobi clan never expected that merchants, once their allies, would be weaponized against them by Yuya. How many merchants are there in Hidden Leaf Village? Strictly speaking, almost every household in the inner city of Hidden Leaf Village could be considered merchants. This is because every house is allotted a 1-meter strip of open space at the front, and most ordinary civilians use this space for small businesses. Ordinary people are both simple and cunning, and Yuya accounted for this in his planning. The design change from the original Hidden Leaf Village dome-like multi-story structures to square multi-story buildings was intentional, paving the way for future demolition, reconstruction, and community development. In the future, the population of Hidden Leaf Village's inner city will grow. While the current housing stock is adequate for one generation, it will fall short in the next, when the population is likely to quadruple. This doesn't even account for people from the outer city who will attempt to move into the inner city. At that point, housing will be in even greater demand, leaving 3 options. 1. Restrict population growth by discouraging large families, an unacceptable solution in Yuya's eyes, as he believes there are already too few people. 2. Upgrade buildings to high-rises, maximizing vertical space. 3. Expand the inner city, but this would erode the contrast and sense of pride tied to inner city residency. For now, only the second option is viable, demolish old buildings and construct tall ones. Instead of expanding outward, Yuya plans to reclaim land from the major ninja clans and use it for development. For now, however, Yuya focuses on his immediate plans. First, he orchestrates a small business shock against the Sarutobi clan. The Sarutobi clan also has its own merchants, but they lack the breadth and diversity of goods that Yuya's allies possess. To cripple the Sarutobi merchants, Yuya summoned the other businessmen and laid down the law, From today on, anyone who dares to cooperate with the Sarutobi clan will be expelled from my circle. You won't lose your place in Hidden Leaf Village, but the land I've allocated to you will be taken back, and your leases won't be renewed. Don't like it? Then go talk to Senjutobi Rama, who owns the rights to all land in Hidden Leaf Village. With shares in steel plants, textile factories, and other ventures, Yuya controls vital sectors of the economy. He even wields influence over the press, using newspapers to plant rumors about financial instability in Sarutobi-owned businesses. Slowly but surely, panic spreads, and Sarutobi merchants are abandoned. Business people, driven by profit, quickly sever ties with the Sarutobi clan. Once loyal to the clan for benefits, they now dismiss any connection. The Sarutobi leader, enraged, summoned his merchants to devise a counter-strategy, only to realize they were stuck. Without access to resources like food, coal, or ninja tools, the clan's operations ground to a halt. Even basic needs became a challenge. While individual Sarutobi could still shop for food like ordinary citizens, this was humiliating and unsustainable in the long run. The growing crisis forced the Sarutobi clan to escalate the matter to Senjutobi Rama. Whether Tobi Rama intervened on their behalf, Yuya didn't care. He simply pressed forward. For a final touch, Yuya gave Hidden Leaf Village's public services in Sarutobi territory a few days off. Garbage piled up, and the clan had no means to dispose of it. After half a month of such tactics, the Sarutobi clan finally cracked. One day, as Yuya enjoyed barbecue with his team, Kagami Uchiha arrived and whispered, "The Sarutobi clan has admitted defeat." Yuya raised an eyebrow, smirked, and finished his food before returning to the Hokage's office. There, he met a middle-aged ninja from the Sarutobi clan. "Where's Sarutobi Hiruzen?" Yuya asked. "Shouldn't he come himself?" The ninja lowered his head, silent. "All right, I see where the Sarutobi clan stands. Go back and let them know, starting tomorrow, everything will return to normal." Yuya had expected the Sarutobi clan to hold out for 6 months. He hadn't anticipated their pride would lead them to fold so quickly. The next day, Yuya announced in the newspapers that safety issues in the Sarutobi clan's territory had been resolved, and services would resume. That evening, Hiruzen Sarutobi personally delivered the map of the clan's land to Yuya. "You hate me, don't you?" Yuya remarked, taking the map. "I do." Hiruzen replied. "But I follow my teacher's orders. This is half the land. If you want the rest, you'll have to take it by force." Yuya smiled and put away the map. "All right. Let's stop here for now." With a smirk, Yuya accepted the Sarutobi's surrender, well aware this was only the beginning. Chapter 75, the so-called big event. Although it makes sense to leave room for reconciliation in life so that we can meet again in the future, Yuya's understanding of this principle is different. For him, leaving room means the other party must also make appropriate concessions in return. Yuya pursued power, while Sarutobi acted out of self-interest. Neither side had much room for complaints. At this point, Yuya clearly held the upper hand. He had several means to suppress the Sarutobi clan. However, recognizing the situation, the Sarutobi clan proactively sought peace. Of course, Yuya did not entirely trust the Sarutobi ninja's words from the previous day. For Yuya, being reasonable means receiving tangible benefits first. Only then would he consider taking a step back. The current head of the Sarutobi clan, an old veteran of the wartime era, failed to grasp this principle. To Yuya's surprise, Sarutobi Hiruzen understood it perfectly. Say what you will about Sarutobi Hiruzen, although his public image is often seen as cowardly, he successfully led Hidden Leaf Village through 40 tumultuous years. Granted, those were also 40 years of constant challenges from external forces. Sarutobi Hiruzen's rise to power was sudden, handed to him by Tobi Rama Senju in a moment of crisis. Shimura Danzō believed he was equally qualified for the position, leading to a rivalry marked by overt and covert conflict. Ultimately, Danzō was sidelined, confined to managing the clandestine root division of Anbu, while Sarutobi Hiruzen retained control. Unbeknownst to Yuya, Sarutobi Hiruzen's success wasn't solely due to his own intelligence. Tobi Rama Senju had given him critical guidance. From Tobi Rama's perspective, the Sarutobi clan was a crucial tool to keep the Uchiha clan in check. Since Hiruzen came with a sincere apology, Yuya reluctantly accepted and promised not to target the Sarutobi clan further. After Sarutobi Hiruzen departed, Yuya eagerly opened the ninja scroll. As promised, it contained land deeds annotated by Senju Hashirama himself, marking the Sarutobi clan's territory since Hidden Leaf Village's founding. Smirking, Yuya summoned Kagami Uchiha and instructed him to inform Narashikaya to draft a land use certificate for the Sarutobi clan. Naturally, the certificate would only grant them a quarter of the land detailed in the scroll. With the remainder of the land now under his control, Yuya contemplated its development. After careful thought, he decided to build a hospital there. Yuya understood that the Sarutobi clan might resent him for now, but once the hospital brought convenience and benefits, their perspective would shift. If they hate me now, they'll thank me in 3 years. He thought confidently. Hospitals were a necessity. A city could function without schools or factories, but it could not thrive without a hospital. From a modern perspective, a hospital could save thousands of lives annually, enabling people to contribute to the community far longer. Although Yuya had wanted to prioritize a hospital earlier, the lack of trained doctors and medical ninjas on the battlefield delayed his plans. For now, he aimed to prepare by training nurses and securing retired medical ninjas to staff the hospital. The real challenge lay in waiting for Hidden Leaf Village's forces to return from the front lines. When Yuya informed Senju Dobirama of his plans, the latter could only sigh. "I wish we could recall the ninjas sooner, but we can't," Dobirama said, exasperated. The unrest in Hidden Cloud's village wasn't over. If the Gold and Silver brothers succeeded in their coup, they would surely target Hidden Leaf Village next. Yuya was puzzled. Why are those two so fixated on Hidden Leaf Village? Dobirama explained, their goal isn't Hidden Leaf Village itself, it's the Ninetales. The Gold and Silver brothers, being descendants of the Sage of Six Paths, had inherited immense strength. In the past, they had fought the Ninetales and managed to steal a portion of its chakra, granting them some of its abilities. During Hashirama's era, they wouldn't have dared to challenge Hidden Leaf Village, but now was a different story. Moreover, their ambition had sparked rebellion in Hidden Cloud's village, culminating in the assassination of the second Raikage. Dobirama recounted, the second Raikage was ambushed by the Gold and Silver brothers during negotiations. Realizing he couldn't win, he fought to the death over 3 days and nights, allowing his forces to retreat. It was a warrior's death. Dobirama's gaze lingered on Yuya, silently questioning if he would make the same sacrifice in a similar situation. Yuya, sensing the unspoken challenge, smiled and steered the conversation back to Hidden Leaf Village's development. The focus now shifted to currency reform. With 250 tons of gold as collateral, Hidden Leaf Village's banknotes were stronger than ever, ensuring financial growth for decades to come. Dobirama, however, interrupted when Yuya casually mentioned needing 100 tons of gold. "You little brat. Are you eyeing my gold reserves?" Dobirama exclaimed. Yuya grinned. "Uncle, whether it's with me or the bank, isn't it all the same? Besides, you control it all anyway." Despite Dobirama's protests, Yuya made a compelling case for reinvesting the gold into Hidden Leaf Village's infrastructure. Just then, Kagami Uchiha entered to report an unusual visitor, a ninja from Hidden Cloud's village requesting to meet Dobirama. "What do they want now?" Dobirama muttered. "They're here to purchase 100,000 exploding tags," Kagami reported. At this, Dobirama shot up from his seat. "A big order like that? I have to handle this personally." Watching Dobirama rush off, Yuya shook his head in amusement. Chapter 76 2 Things in the summer of Hidden Leaf Village's 20th year, Senju Dobirama returned to the battlefield's front lines. Hidden Cloud's village had expressed interest in purchasing 100,000 explosive tags. After careful consideration, Senju Dobirama decided to sell them. Though there was a possibility that Hidden Cloud's village might use these explosive tags against Hidden Leaf Village, it seemed unlikely. Besides, selling 100,000 tags wouldn't be a critical threat when Hidden Leaf Village already had a stockpile of over 1 million. Yuya, overseeing logistics, had always operated on one principle: stockpile everything. Regardless of immediate need, his approach ensured that items like kunai, shuriken, and ninja swords were always in abundant supply. Since Dobirama had been stationed on the Hidden Leaf Village Hidden Cloud's village front lines for over a year without major conflict, Hidden Leaf Village had accumulated a massive stock of explosive tags and other equipment. Thankfully, the ongoing conflicts between the lands of Earth, Water, and Wind provided an opportunity to offload some of this surplus. However, Hidden Leaf Village remained cautious. Even with their abundance, Dobirama knew explosive tags could cause significant damage. Therefore, he decided to visit the front lines personally. More than a month later, news arrived from Hidden Cloud's village. The Kinkaku and Ginkaku brothers, while attempting a sneak attack, were ambushed by a team led by Hidden Cloud's village's current Eight Tails Jinchuriki, a close ally of the late second Raikage, whom the brothers had killed. Thousands of explosive tags were deployed, with over 10,000 detonating in the span of a minute. The explosions continued for 10 minutes, leaving the brothers seriously injured. Zhao Nan could learn from this: why detonate 1 billion tags in 10 minutes when an hour-long detonation could be far more effective? Senju Dobirama was satisfied with the outcome. "Well done," he remarked. Regardless of who ultimately won the clash, Hidden Leaf Village stood to benefit from the internal strife. Upon receiving the news, Yuya frowned. A Hidden Cloud's village embroiled in civil war wasn't an ideal trade partner. After some thought, He instructed Kagami Uchiha to contact the representative from Hidden Clouds Village who had facilitated the earlier trade. Yuya was prepared to discreetly support one faction over the other if it would lead to a resolution. The civil war in Hidden Clouds Village had already dragged on for a year. For Hidden Leaf Village, this was problematic. Their beef and mutton supplies had been heavily consumed, with much of it coming from their cold storage. Stocks were now running low. Hidden Leaf Village had even begun rationing cattle and sheep meat. If the war continued for another year, they would have to rely solely on their local pastures. The northern pastures of Hidden Leaf Village only housed around 10,000 livestock, forcing the village to turn to poultry and other alternatives. Interestingly, camel meat from Hidden Sand Village had become a staple, though Yuya much preferred camel milk for its sustainability. Unfortunately, Hidden Leaf Village didn't have the land or resources to raise camels full-time. If Hidden Clouds Village's conflict persisted, Yuya considered negotiating a long-term camel meat supply agreement with Hidden Sand Village. After all, the villagers of Hidden Leaf Village couldn't be deprived of meat entirely. By late summer and early autumn of Hidden Leaf Village's 20th year, peace returned to the village itself. Following Yuya's economic and political maneuvers, the Sarutobi clan faced significant setbacks. This prompted other clans, like the Hyuga and Shimura, to conduct internal audits to avoid a similar fate. Yuya's strategy had been clear: cut off Sarutobi's access to trade resources, forcing them to buy essentials like food themselves. This made the clan vulnerable, as their stockpiled supplies dwindled without replenishment. Other clans quickly realized that they, too, were dependent on external merchants for necessities like rice, oil, and other daily goods. This discovery prompted them to sever potential ties with Hidden Leaf Village's merchants and avoid conflicts with Yuya's administration. Meanwhile, the Uchiha clan largely operated outside Hidden Leaf Village's internal trade network. Their dealings were with merchants in the gray area outside the village, making them less affected by Yuya's maneuvers. By autumn, Senjudobi Ramo began noticing a peculiar trend. Explosions echoed regularly from Hidden Clouds Village. Do they have that many explosive dogs? He wondered. At the same time, the Land of Rivers sent an envoy to Hidden Leaf Village requesting assistance in their conflict against Hidden Sand Village. After deliberation, Yuya agreed to provide aid. Yuya also extended an invitation to the second Kazekage for peace talks, intending to discuss post-war development in detail. The second Kazekage's decision to attend personally turned what seemed like a routine negotiation into a historic moment for Hidden Leaf Village. Chapter 77 The second generation of Kazekage. Samana Yuya was a bit perplexed upon learning that the second Kazekage was so straightforward and planned to visit Hidden Leaf Village directly. Was this man truly so brave? Was he not afraid of Hidden Leaf Village and Kawano Kuni conspiring against him? Well, Yuya himself would never engage in such schemes. In fact, he needed to hurry and prepare the guest house that Hidden Leaf Village had arranged for visitors. The second Kazekage's visit to Hidden Leaf Village was ostensibly to negotiate peace with Kawano Kuni, but he had a greater agenda. He wanted to witness firsthand Hidden Leaf Village's current development. The policies and progress that Yuya had implemented in Hidden Leaf Village were reported to other villages, but the Kazekage needed to see them for himself to be certain. Another reason for his visit was to evaluate Hidden Leaf Village's military capabilities. After attending the first 5 Kage summit with the first Kazekage, the second Kazekage had met Senju Hashirama, the man who ended the wars in the ninja world and became its strongest figure. From that encounter, the first Kazekage had crafted a national policy focused on strengthening the military. The peace Hidden Leaf Village promised could be maintained while Hashirama was alive, but what if he were gone? Hidden Leaf Village's power was something Hidden Sand Village had to guard against, lest Hidden Leaf Village decide to attack. This led to a clear martial culture in Sand Hidden Village, with the second Kazekage working to improve puppet techniques and utilize the village's terrain for strategic defense. The irony was that Hidden Sand Village's plans to attack Hidden Leaf Village originally aimed to prevent Hidden Leaf Village's aggression. Thus, the third Kazekage needed to be unyielding against external threats. To gauge Hidden Leaf Village's situation and military strength, and to understand the disparities between the two villages, the second Kazekage made his journey. The second Kazekage didn't bring many people with him, which was typical for a visit to Hidden Leaf Village. In fact, he was prepared for the possibility that he might not return. However, he was determined to gather Hidden Leaf Village's information by any means necessary. Despite the fierce appearance given by the tattoo partially visible under his hat, the second Kazekage was far from mindless. He was a strategic and intelligent leader, adept at assessing situations. Upon arriving near Hidden Leaf Village with his 2 personal guards, business representatives from Hidden Sand Village, and family representatives, they were greeted by 3 ninja teams. They must be Kazekage Dano and his party from Hidden Sand Village. This was obvious, given the prominent character on the second Kazekage Samana's hat. The Hidden Leaf Village team informed them that they were there to welcome them. Samana responded calmly, indicating that everything was fine. The team of ninjas escorted Samana for 10 kilometers before changing teams. Observing their skilled coordination and the exchange of secret signals, Samana closed his eyes. It was clear to anyone with sense that these codes changed daily. Samana couldn't determine the exact number of ninjas outside Hidden Leaf Village, but by sensing his surroundings, he detected at least 5 teams. Even without factoring in the increased security due to his visit, there were typically at least 3 ninja teams patrolling within a 20-kilometer radius. This suggested that 7 pairs of ninjas was a standard configuration. With such security, Samana knew a sneak attack or assassination attempt would fail. Maintaining his composure, as if unaware of anything, Samana followed the Hidden Leaf Village ninjas toward the village. The escort changed 3 times along the way, further confirming Samana's suspicions. Upon reaching Hidden Leaf Village, the ninja leading the Kazekage and his group handed them over to a guide sent by the Hokage's office, who had Hidden Leaf Village engraved on his attire. The guide shook hands with the Kazekage and made a respectful gesture, inviting the group into Hidden Leaf Village. Samana was intrigued by the buildings and numerous construction sites in the distance. He looked at the guide curiously and asked, "Is this the outer city of Hidden Leaf Village?" The guide nodded. "Yes, Lord Kazekage, this is the outer city of Hidden Leaf Village." Samana nodded, though thoughts raced through his mind. Hidden Leaf Village's outer city didn't seem particularly impressive. The main difference from their sand-hidden village was simply that one was built with sand and the other with earth. However, after turning a corner, the dirt road transformed into a flat concrete surface. The buildings on either side were uniformly 2-story templates, looking like they were copied and pasted. Samana asked the guide, "Are these houses inhabited by the villagers of Hidden Leaf Village?" The guide looked confused and shook his head. "No, strictly speaking, these are not people of Hidden Leaf Village. They do not have Hidden Leaf Village identity documents. They are refugees who have come to Hidden Leaf Village." Samana was intrigued and inquired, "Proof of identity?" The guide seemed even more puzzled, and Samana's fierce smile almost startled him. Fortunately, the guide was prepared for such reactions, as he was sent by Hyuga to escort guests. "The agent has said that I can answer your questions as long as they don't involve Hidden Leaf Village secrets," the guide explained as they continued walking. "Refugees from other places without Hidden Leaf Village's identity certificate cannot apply immediately. They can only apply after residing in Hidden Leaf Village for 5 years. Of course, there is another category, ninjas who serve Hidden Leaf Village. After thorough vetting, they can be granted identity documents, allowing them to live in Hidden Leaf Village's inner city. This process is overseen by Sanjudobi Rama himself, so the guide omitted this detail." Samana nodded, understanding that the outer city was essentially for refugees. There was little need to invest heavily in building these structures. A simple batch of basic housing sufficed. Samana noticed a building with a man and woman painted on the door and curiously pointed, "What is that?" "Public restroom," the guide explained. Samana nodded. They had similar facilities in Sand Hidden Village, though of a different style. Eventually, Samana was led to Hidden Leaf Village's gate. Even standing outside, it was clear that the inner city, separated only by a wall, was more refined. One side featured smooth blue bricks, while the other had a polished cement road. Undoubtedly, the brick road was more elegant, and the continuous high-rise buildings until the line of sight was blocked further emphasized the distinction. Samana sighed inwardly. He understood immediately. This inner city surpassed the outer city by far. Chapter 78 Fengchuan Reconciliation and Liuyuo Fight Again. Samana was led by the guide along the main road of Hidden Leaf Village. He observed the Hidden Leaf Village residents on either side of the road, who cast curious glances at him, yet he remained unfazed. At this point in time, Hidden Sand Village had not yet launched a surprise attack on Hidden Leaf Village, and there was no hostility between the two villages. If the second Raikage were standing there, the people of Hidden Leaf Village would likely look at him with hatred. However, the second Raikage was known for his boldness, so it was understandable. Samana suddenly noticed something unusual and pointed to the track in the middle of the road, asking, "What is this?" The guide shook his head. "I don't know. The agent said it was in preparation for future rail transit. We don't fully understand what the agent meant, but it sounded reasonable, so we built it like this." In Yuya's plan, the inner city was to have rail transit. Once the power experiments reached the next stage, rail trains could be developed, significantly reducing travel time. Indeed, Yuya had prepared a direct track between the factory and the inner city. A week around the inner city? In the future, when the subway is built, it will circle the inner city. Now, to shorten commuting time so everyone can go home to eat and sleep daily without staying at the factory, promoting family harmony and encouraging workers to work harder, this needs to be prioritized. Samana was somewhat interested in this, but without a tangible example, he let it go for now. Afterward, the guide took Samana and his party to the shopping street, the center of Hidden Leaf Village's inner city. With just a brief glance, Samana saw countless shops on both sides of the road, with various signs everywhere. If what Samana saw in the outer city resembled the environment of Hidden Sand Village, then what he witnessed in the inner city was wealthier than Hidden Sand Village, with taller and newer buildings. The commercial streets represented the future. There were various signboards between shops, displaying product prices and promotions at the entrance. The villagers of Hidden Leaf Village on both sides of the road were chatting and laughing, each carrying large and small shopping bags. A few hundred meters away was a road sign and a glass-covered tall pillar on the roadside, which the guide explained was a street lamp. Hidden Leaf Village relied on these for lighting at night. Although the commercial street was called a street, it was actually an area in the center of Hidden Leaf Village. This area was clearly divided into sections: daily necessities, food, clothing, books, and fresh produce. Samana was naturally very interested in Hidden Sand Village's store in Hidden Leaf Village. Although Hidden Sand Village was not wealthy, this store's value to Hidden Sand Village was significant. Apart from gathering information in Hidden Leaf Village, the shop itself was profitable. When Samana asked which area Hidden Sand Village's shop was in, the guide looked rather perplexed before leading Samana to the utility area. The items sold in Hidden Sand Village were too varied, including food, drink, ninja tools, desert clothing, cacti, camel meat, and even small moving puppets. If Yuya's current focus wasn't on economic development and less on entertainment, leisure, and the cultural industry of Hidden Leaf Village, there would be all sorts of animations, movies, and TV series to contend with. If Hidden Sand Village made a moving life-size puppet from anime, added silicone, and carefully crafted its appearance and body posture, it could capture the wallets of many enthusiasts and collectors. For instance, if Hidden Sand Village produced a life-size, movable figure of Yuya would definitely buy it. If there were life-size figures of Rei Ayanami, Asuka, and a movable Gundam mecha, it would be irresistible, and Yuya would be ecstatic. However, the current focus was on developing the economy and consolidating power, with cultural value being deferred to the future. After all, without economic development, people would be hungry, and even the best movies and TV shows would hold little value. Samana felt a bit helpless but understood. He comforted the Hidden Sand Village ninja in the shop, offered a few words of encouragement, and decided to head to the Hokage's office. Oh, by the way, that girl named Chio had returned to Hidden Sand Village to get married. Yuya warmly received Samana and his group in the Hokage's office. The guide bowed respectfully to Yuya. Agent, I'll take my leave now. Yuya waved his hand dismissively. Since Yuya cut off the wages of some Sarutobi clan members during the Chinese New Year last year, then arrested 13 Sarutobi members and sent them to prison, followed by mining duty, the Sarutobi clan was forced to self-examine and check if any resources were controlled by Yuya. Consequently, people became more compliant. Previously, many referred to Yuya as the secretary agent. Now, the secretary title was dropped, and like Kagami Uchiha, Yuya was simply called the agent. This indicated a shift in attitude from the families behind them. By the end of the year, Yuya wouldn't be the only one handling the accounts. Of course, trusting these matters to others was not something Yuya was willing to do. As always, it's best to align oneself early. Even if people hedge their bets, it was already a bit late at this point. Narashikaya was recently assigned by Yuya to audit accounts, effectively working for nothing. Although Narashikaya was also a pawn by the Nara clan to play both sides, with Yuya gaining the upper hand, Narashikaya's influence had expanded a bit. There was no choice, even though he was hedging, Yuya really didn't have many people on his side. It wouldn't be appropriate to have Kagami Uchiha, who was in charge of the Anbu, handle these tasks, right? Even with Yuya having a strong advantage now, those families couldn't join directly. Apart from the kindergarten with an amusement park that Hinata had started constructing, which would be completed next summer, few other families handed over clan land. Even the Nara clan was dragging its feet on this issue. Yuya wasn't in a hurry either. They would take their time. After all, Sarutobi's acquisition of land had temporarily alleviated Hidden Leaf Village's land tension. Future matters could be dealt with collectively when the time came. Chapter 79 Hokage's office. Yuya and Samana shook hands warmly, chatting with amiable smiles for the entire afternoon, though without much progress. Samana didn't wait for Yuya to mention their war with Kawanokuni. Instead, he proactively invited Hidden Leaf Village to join forces against Kawanokuni, proposing to divide the spoils equally. Yuya laughed, explaining that Senjutobirama was on the front line, and he couldn't make such a significant decision alone. He then cordially invited Samana to visit Hidden Leaf Village's steel factories, food processing plants, and textile factories. Samana naturally agreed eagerly. He wanted to understand these aspects of Hidden Leaf Village as well. However, after the visit the next day, Samana returned to the guest house arranged by Yuya and found himself deep in thought. He had known Hidden Leaf Village was strong, but he hadn't anticipated this level of strength. An entire steel factory park utilized even scraps to make pots, pans, kitchen knives, and hose. Even the wastewater was treated and connected to Hidden Leaf Village's clean pipes, supplying various toilets in the village. Such attention to detail was evident in many areas, including the food processing area's canned goods, which reportedly had a shelf life of up to 3 years. What did that imply? It clearly indicated that these massive logistical supply lines were fully activated during wartime, preparing for conflict. Wars were about supplies. Currently, secondary steel processing plants were producing hose and kitchen knives, but who didn't know what they were processing before? Moreover, Samana wasn't blind. He noticed the existence of a third-level processing factory. Third-level processing involved Hidden Leaf Village's secrets and wasn't open to visitors. What could it involve? Wasn't it just weapons processing? It wasn't as if he didn't know. But it couldn't be publicly stated. Samana sighed, eventually agreeing to Yuya's proposal. After all, this regulation was also beneficial for them. In the autumn of Hidden Leaf Village's 20th year, after being invited by Hidden Leaf Village, the daimyo of Kawanokuni and a leader of Yunnan Village came to Hidden Leaf Village. After Hidden Leaf Village's mediation, although the leader of Yunnan Village angrily refused, the daimyo of Kawanokuni agreed to Hidden Leaf Village's proposed plan. From then on, tolls from Hidden Sand Village to Kawanokuni would be free of charge. During normal commercial exchanges, Kawanokuni would not increase fares without reason and would pay 300 million taels in war compensation to Hidden Sand Village. The two sides signed a friendship alliance, and Hidden Sand Village pledged to provide assistance if Kawanokuni was invaded by other clans in the future. It was evident that the Kawanokuni battlefront had been steadily retreating, causing the daimyo of Kawanokuni to lose trust in Yunnan Village. The leader of Yunnan Village firmly rejected the plan but was silenced when the daimyo of Kawanokuni asked, "How many people from Yunnan Village die every day on the battlefield now?" Samana accepted the treaty with satisfaction. He had considered demanding land cessions from Kawanokuni to Hidden Sand Village, but Yuya sternly refused. Yuya clearly stated that Hidden Leaf Village's mediation, compensation, trade, and free tolls could be overlooked, but Kawanokuni could not cede territory. If Kawanokuni ceded territory, Hidden Leaf Village would undoubtedly support resistance against the invasion. Samana understood Yuya's reasoning. With Kawanokuni, there was a buffer zone between Hidden Leaf Village and Hidden Sand Village. Without this zone, Samana also realized Yuya's intention in showing him Hidden Leaf Village's factories. These factories enabled Senju to withstand Hidden Cloud's Village's front and allowed Kawanokuni to resist Hidden Sand Village's attacks. After careful consideration, Samana agreed to withdraw his troops. With this, Hidden Leaf Village rose to international prominence. By the end of the same year, Hidden Mist Village sent representatives to Hidden Leaf Village, though the third Mizukage was hesitant to come and sent emissaries instead. Yuya also consulted Uzumaki Mido, requesting her to inform the Uzumaki clan to come to Hidden Leaf Village and negotiate with Hidden Mist Village. Hidden Mist Village demanded compensation and exemption from tolls, similar to Hidden Sand Village. Naturally, the Uzumaki clan members were unwilling and argued their case. Negotiations continued, but the front lines remained active. Yuya found the situation amusing. Meanwhile, in Union Village, developments unfolded. The Gold and Silver brothers were attacked by a large force led by the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. The battle raged for a month, with the Gold and Silver brothers killed in action, the Eight Tails Jinchuriki seriously injured, and Hidden Cloud's Village left vulnerable. Senju was so excited that he immediately dispatched someone to inform Yuya of his plans to attack Union Village, taking advantage of the opportunity to harass Hidden Cloud's Village. When Yuya received the news, he was nearly stunned. He quickly instructed Kagami Uchiha to send a message preventing Senju from going to Hidden Cloud's Village. Although the news from Union Village suggested weakness, who could guarantee Union Village was truly weakened? At the end of the winter of Hidden Leaf Village's 20th year, Senju led his team into Hidden Cloud's Village and was ambushed by Hidden Cloud's Village's forces. Both sides sustained injuries, and Senju hesitated to pursue further. His subordinate, Shimura Danzō, saw it as an opportunity and volunteered to lead a raid on Union Village. After some thought, Senju agreed to Shimura Danzō's proposal. The next day, Shimura Danzō attacked Hidden Cloud's Village. Hidden Leaf Village's forces were met by Hidden Cloud's Village's defenses, and the Eight Tails Jinchuriki appeared. Senju was shocked, realizing the earlier news was false. The battle between the two sides intensified, and Hidden Leaf Village fought while retreating, with Hidden Cloud's village's forces eventually ceasing pursuit. Only then did Senju Dobirama understand that although the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki appeared and wasn't as severely injured as reported, he was still injured and unable to exert full strength. He had missed an excellent opportunity for combat. According to confidential analysis from various countries, Hidden Cloud's village had committed all its combat power to this conflict. The Eight-Tails Jinchuriki, the future Third Raikage, and the Two-Tails Jinchuriki were all concentrated in this battle. Had Senju Dobirama decided to attack, Union Village would have fought to the death. Ultimately, Senju Dobirama's caution spared him from disaster and prevented Hidden Leaf Village's Shenjin Yuya from inheriting a mess. In contrast, Shimura Danzo led a raid on Hidden Cloud's village, fiercely clashing with its guards. Most of Hidden Cloud's village's guards were ninjas below Chunin level, others were deployed to the battlefield in preparation for further conflict. After killing many guards, Danzo massacred thousands of civilians in Union Village before retreating upon learning of Hidden Cloud's village's forces pulling back. At this point, Hidden Cloud's village harbored deep hatred for Hidden Leaf Village. That same month, the Third Raikage ascended to power, demanding Hidden Leaf Village hand over Shimura Danzo. From then on, Hidden Cloud's village and Hidden Leaf Village turned from enemies to allies. This news spread throughout Hidden Leaf Village, inciting excitement and curses against Hidden Cloud's village. In the Hokage's office, many praised Shimura Danzo's actions. The Shimura family thus replaced the Sarutobi family, becoming the center of a new power struggle in Hidden Leaf Village. At the end of the year, upon receiving Hidden Cloud's village's demand to surrender Shimura Danzo, with threats of relentless pursuit otherwise, Yuya sneered disdainfully. I am not the third Hokage, and it is even less likely for Senju Dobirama to yield to Union Village. If you want to fight, then come. Are you afraid you won't succeed? Although Yuya didn't have a favorable impression of Shimura Danzo, considering his unpleasant portrayal in the anime, Danzo was now a hero to Hidden Leaf Village. Surrendering him at this point would be a slap in the face to countless Hidden Leaf Village residents. Yuya wouldn't do such a thing. Of course, the decision wasn't his to make. After Senju Dobirama sternly rejected Hidden Cloud's village's unreasonable demand, the newly appointed Third Raikage was furious and launched a fierce attack on Hidden Leaf Village's frontline troops once more. Chapter 80,000 Hands Tsunade winter vacation begins after school this afternoon. Please try not to leave the village or visit the wetland park during the winter break. You are not allowed to catch fish or shrimp. It's winter, and all students must be mindful of their safety. The teacher of the ninja school earnestly warned the young students. Every year, some adventurous kids decide to fish or catch shrimp and crabs in winter. Children are full of energy, but it's important to set limits. Such activities can be quite dangerous. Though the agent assigned a group of chunin to patrol the river daily, some kids are persistent about fishing. In the past, Hidden Leaf Village was simply impoverished. Nowadays, in Hidden Leaf Village, if someone with functional limbs remains poor, it's truly their own issue. There was even a lame man from the Uchiha clan whose injured leg didn't stop him. His mung-bean cakes were so delicious they were featured in the newspaper as a positive role model, encouraging the villagers of Hidden Leaf Village to try making simple items to support their families, even if they were disabled due to the war. The reaction of Hidden Leaf villagers to this example was not significant. After all, there are only a few disabled people in Hidden Leaf Village. The truly disabled ones are the ninjas who retired from the battlefield. For these ninjas, even with broken limbs, finding a job as a janitor is no problem, and the monthly salary is comparable to that of workers. The salary for idle work being similar to that of busy workers is quite satisfactory. Again, happiness comes from comparison. Let's head to the back mountain after school. I heard there's a blind bear over there. How about we catch the blind bear and sell it for money? A 100-kilogram bear can be sold for 200,000 ryo. Little Jiraiya's eyes widened with excitement as he looked at his two companions. Jiraiya, did you not listen to what the teacher said at all? Orochimaru looked at little Jiraiya, exasperated. Little Jiraiya waved his hand dismissively. Oh, I'm not going to the river. I'm going to the back mountain. Orochimaru turned to the girl beside him. Tsunade, what do you think? Tsunade shook her head. You go ahead. I'll skip it. I have something to do recently. Little Jiraiya approached Tsunade, asking suspiciously, are you planning to go find Big Brother? Tsunade's expression darkened, and she looked at Jiraiya with exasperation. Do you think I'm that idle? Little Jiraiya put his hands on his hips. That's true, you can't help Big Brother at all. Tsunade scowled, then raised her fist. Orochimaru watched the two of them chase each other and shook his head. He had his own plans for the day. Or rather, whenever he was on vacation, he always had something to do. The three of them walked home from school, chatting as they went. Jiraiya asked Tsunade, by the way, did your brother give you a shopping voucher for the shopping street? Should we go shopping there? Tsunoda felt a bit excited. A new clothing store had opened on the commercial street, aiming to compete with Yuia's high-end clothing store. The styles were similar, but the clothing prices were cheaper. Although Yuia gave her a bunch of shopping coupons, and logically she should support Yuia, Tsunoda wasn't thrilled about it. Why make money for Yuia when she could shop at his competitors? Orochimaru shook his head. You can go ahead, I'll skip it. Little Jiraiya became curious. Orochimaru, are you going to help at the orphanage again? Orochimaru shook his head. The grandma from last time passed away, and I'm going to help clean out her house. Little Jiraiya and Tsunoda didn't know what to say. The grandma was nice, but she was quite old. But she had a son and a daughter. Where were they? Tsunoda asked directly, without hesitation. Orochimaru replied, her son and daughter took her ashes but couldn't take the house. They live on East 2nd Street and rarely come to South 4th Street, so they let me use the house as a thank you. They're usually too busy with work to take care of her. Though it was said to be a gift, the real estate certificate remained with her children, and Orochimaru was just allowed to stay there temporarily. Orochimaru's own home was on South 5th Street, which meant a longer walk to and from school. Having this house could save time, and even if he didn't live in it, renting it out could provide some income. They genuinely wanted to thank Orochimaru. As Hidden Leaf Village grew wealthier, many people's attitudes became more relaxed. In the past, many loitered on the streets, and a minor incident could lead to a fight. But now, with everyone busy like bees, they often rush past, apologizing or moving on without conflict, as time is money these days. Being late for work results in docked wages. Though this might be an oversimplification, most people are inclined to be peaceful, kind, gentle, and good when life is stable and not pressured by basic needs.